Is up, everybody? It's Blair Johnson with the Badass Records podcast, welcoming you in for a very special episode. My guest this week is Amber Lee of Dear You Tattoo, and immediate apologies go out to Amber because I think that her name was omitted as we started rolling, which was not my intention. But you can check out Amber's fine establishment at dearyoutattoo.com. They are at dearyoutattoo on Instagram. They're located at 4470 Rainbow over in KCK. You can give them a holler at dearyoutattoo@gmail.com or a buzz at 913-831-8833. So please check them out online and in person as well. This here podcast airs Thursdays. You can find it where you stream or on YouTube. Everything lives on the website, which is badassrecordspodcast.com. Holler at me at badassrecordspodcast@gmail.com. Socials are Twitter and Instagram. And I'm excited to share that a little over 4 years ago, the idea for doing this thing, talking to people about who they are, what they're into, and what some of their favorite albums have been over the years. That's when this idea was born. It took about a year to get it off the ground. And since then, we've been rolling, and this marks 3 full years of weekly episodes. So I'm very pleased at that accomplishment, and am thankful for those who have supported the show and come on and done episodes with me. So yeah, good times, and appreciate it. As always, hope you enjoy. So, thanks for being here, Dear You Tattoo. What do we got here? We've got dearyoutattoo.com, at Dear You Tattoo on Instagram. Your spot is 4470 Rainbow. Contact is dearyoutattoo@gmail, and then is this 913, is that the landline for the place? 831-8833.
Yep.
If you need to get on the horn with you guys. Website has a schedule and an appointment booking piece.
Yeah, kinda.
Kinda.
Yeah.
And a handsome bio summary of all the folks.
Thanks.
Work samples, pics. It's very attractive layout and design wise, and has been around for 7 years.
Yeah, April will be 8.
April will be 8.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's exciting.
I don't know when it happened.
So, talk to me about the idea of opening a tattoo parlor.
My idea or the idea in general?
I mean, mostly yours, but also in general, I think.
Okay. So just like any field, everybody always thinks that they can do it better, right? Of course, you get somewhere and you're like, oh, yeah, this is a piece of cake. Super easy. That's not how I saw it. When I was ready to leave the studio that I was working at, I shopped around to try and just go work somewhere else. And I was like, there has to be somebody that has like the same kind of idea that like clients aren't just money. There has to be a place that like I could be happy as an artist and treat my clients better. There has to be that place. And I went into probably 4 shops, and one of the things that I kind of had going for me is I didn't post a lot of my face online. So I would go into studios and just kind of pick up a portfolio and kind of wait for somebody to come talk to me, just like I was shopping for a tattoo, you know? And
or anything for that matter.
Yeah, and so I would just like kind of sit down, and I was like looking through books and stuff, and I'm just like a fly on the wall. I'm like, look at that guy. He hasn't washed his hands. He just went to the bathroom. He didn't wash his hands, and the guy that came over and like looked at me, he was like, "Are you here for a tattoo?" It was just very, I don't know, off-putting, and I was just like, "Man, this is okay. This is not unique to the studio that I work in." So I came back kind of defeated, and my husband was like, we weren't married at the time, but he was like, "Why don't you just open your own studio? Why don't we just open a shop?" And I was like, "Because I don't know anything about owning a shop." And he was like, "You know how to run a shop." He's like, "You did it during your apprenticeship. You've held the one together that you've been working at. Just give it a shot. What's the worst that's going to happen?" And I was like, "I don't know, it could fail." And he's like, "Okay, and then you'll go work somewhere else." So he was really, I always joke with him, like, "This is your fault." This is your, he's like, "You're so stressed out." I'm like, "This is your fault. You made me do this." So,
So,
he's
you went into four sort of hoping for some kind of customer service
just to work
appreciation,
somewhere. Yeah, I wanted, yeah, like, I mean, a lot of,
and you went 0 for 4?
yeah.
Okay.
One of them was like cleaner, definitely, and I'm not going to name any
No, no,
names,
no.
but like one of
No.
them was cleaner than the others and stuff. But then like, they were just like, some guy yelling across his half naked client, like, "You looking to get something today?" Whatever. I was like, "Oh, I'm just looking at portfolios." And he's like, "Yeah." It's just like, God,
What is
man.
that vibe?
Very much
Yeah.
like you're an inconvenience.
Oh,
And, like
okay.
you're inconveniencing me. And it's like, what if I was here to give you money?
Yeah.
Like, what if I was going to sit down and do a sleeve with you and
Yeah.
you're $200 an hour?
As a chef and kitchen manager, many, many years ago, we had to read these manager books, managing people. And there was an acronym in there that, in terms of dealing with distributors, like who you're buying supplies from and stuff. And it really spilled into the wedding plant back when I was married, and then further back I wasn't married, and now we're engaged and doing it. And so Wamish, why are you making it so hard? Is the acronym, and then the beyond the ellipses would be for me to give you my money. And so, like, if you picking out DJs or venues or caterers, it's like the people that don't reply
Yeah.
or are easy. Thank you. You're
Yeah.
whittling down my list,
Yeah.
and you said, yeah, that vibe makes me feel like, is that the internet's fault? Like, because everything used to be in person and more connected, or
I have a thing about this. So it's McDonald's mentality. You can go and drive through anywhere and get what you want right now. You can get on your phone on Amazon and have it delivered by 4 in the afternoon. It's instant gratification. And then you have folks that are like, "Well, I'm going to go get a tattoo." You walk in and get a tattoo, right? There's 5 shops in town. You can just walk in and get one, right? Our shop's not like that. It spiraled. It got way bigger faster than I thought. It was crazy, right? Like people want to be treated nicely. It's wild. It's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah, it's super crazy. Anyway, but I digress.
That's all. There's a number of legs to the stool behind doing this. So 156 of these, no virtual. For that reason, because
Yes.
like we gotta sit down and look at each other and have conversation and be polite and kind and
Should be anyway, right?
right.
So there's a lot to that whole like more demand means you can be less personable, I guess. Is the idea. I have a list of people waiting to get tattooed by me. I don't have to be nice to this person. You know, I,
Ah,
that's my theory anyway.
plug and play.
Yeah. So I've always been the opposite. The more in demand that I have gotten, the more kind I try to be, the more personable I am when I have you in my chair, the more I want to respect your time. And that platform is still not very popular with other tattoo artists. Blows my
Wow.
mind.
So I know nothing about this business, so forgive me if I
No.
am naive. Apprenticeship. That's not the first step, is it? You have
Well, it
to.
kind of depends. So like in our studio in particular, so somebody might come in and say, I want to be a tattoo artist. And I'll say, that's adorable. Lots of people want to be
Yeah.
a tattoo artist. And I'm never one of those like, get out of here, kid. Do you have a portfolio? Do you have this? Let's talk about it. And when I have an apprentice, I might have somebody come in with those things, and I'm like, that's fantastic. I don't know you. I don't charge for an apprenticeship. I want you to work for me. If you're going to be an apprentice, if I'm going to teach you this craft, I want you to work with me. So I want to know what kind of person you are. So you're going to work for me for like a year, and I'll pay you for your time.
Oh,
And then if I like you and we vibe, then I'll teach you.
okay.
And then, they might work for like a more a reduced percentage or something to kind of help compensate for the education that they're receiving, like on demand. And then, kind of goes from there.
So if they're working for you for a year, what are they doing?
So like answering emails,
Okay.
answering the phone.
They're not doing the stuff
Oh no,
at all.
no.
But to get in your good graces to be a candidate for that, they do need a portfolio
Yeah, I
to
want to
show that
see
they have done stuff elsewhere.
not tattoos, art.
Art. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
No,
Interesting.
I often I will refuse
If
someone.
they have already, okay, because
Yes.
it's
It's a lot harder to
untrained.
Yep. You say you're naive. You seem very savvy.
Well, anyway.
It's easier to teach than unplug. If
Yeah.
they already have an idea from the internet or a machine that they bought online, they've already done the steps to make my job harder to teach them.
So, portfolio, uh, apprentice for a year-ish, good vibe, like them as a person, and then what is it?
I mean, we can speak in terms of like my one that
Great,
just graduated.
perfect. Okay,
So she came
graduated.
in.
That's the word I
Yeah,
was looking
what else do you
for.
call
I
it?
don't know.
Like she got licensed.
Yes, right.
She came in a couple times with a portfolio, and we had just came back from the shutdown.
Mm.
They shut us down. Kansas shut us down for 12 weeks. It was awful. Not knowing when we were going to get to make a dollar again was
Then
very
you're
stressful.
3-ish years deep at that point.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So at this point, we've been open longer since than before, which blows my mind.
right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So she shows up one day. We're feeling sorry for ourselves. Oh, damn. It wasn't even COVID. We had been back for almost a month and a car crashed into the side of the building.
What?
A car came off of Rainbow, didn't know even brake marks. They didn't even try to stop. Hopped the curb and went straight into the side of the building.
In the daytime?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were they sober?
Oh, I doubt it.
Oh, you didn't
No,
ever.
and I was, the alarm went off because, of course, I have an alarm. And they were like, well, what is it? They were like calling me. Well, what do the cameras look like? And I'm like, you can't see anything. It's just gray. And they're like, what? And so fire department.
Nobody was there?
No, it was a Sunday.
Oh, funny.
So it was a Sunday at like 1 p.m, just after like brunch gets over. Super weird, right? So I get there and there's a Volkswagen parked in the side of the studio.
God damn.
It's like, what is going on here? So I'm having a meltdown, and this woman's just standing there, and she's got like some shopping bags, and she's just looking around.
The driver, she's still there. Okay. I mean, I guess whatever.
Oh, a car sideswiped me.
Oh.
Yeah, where you have no damage on your car, no brake marks, no collision. I was like, oh my God. So anyway, I was like, I want you to give her a breathalyzer, and they were like, she's like 60, it's fine. I was like, oh my God. So anyway, we're feeling sorry for ourselves, sitting in the back parking lot drinking margaritas, as you do when you're feeling sorry for yourself. And her name's Desiree. She comes up and she's like, hi, I have a portfolio, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, come on and sit down, whatever, have a seat. And so she hangs out and we look at it, and I'm like, I'm not in the market for an apprentice. I already have one, which he was there too. And it's like, I'm not in the market for an apprentice, but, if I have an opening for front person or something, I can give you a call. And she was like, yeah, okay. And she sent us an email. And I think maybe like 3 months later or something, the chick that I had doing the front desk was like, I need help. I was like, I wonder if that gal would come back. She's like, send her an email. So I emailed her and said, hey, you want a job? And I swear to God, before I hit send, she had already said yes. I was
Wow.
like, oh, okay, that was weird. So she showed up and just worked part time for a couple months. And she's a hard-working little kid,
And
man.
then like doing whatever to make ends meet on the side, or
Well, so I paid a little,
no, right? But I mean,
She had two other jobs,
oh,
yeah, at the
there you
time.
go. There you go.
So she would work, I think she worked mornings at like a donut shop or
Huh.
something, and then she worked for me. And then when she went full time with me, then she quit the other jobs.
Okay.
She was behind a lot of like some of our booking stuff, and the way that we operate now was just her little like 20-year-old brain like, hey, what if we did this? And I was like, you're a genius. Like, why didn't I think of that?
That's
But
hilarious.
yeah, she's great. She's super savvy. She's super sweet kid, and she really wanted it, and she worked hard for it.
Cool. And
Yeah,
so now she her
she's
own
fully
bookings.
licensed.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I mean, is it universal, for lack of a better term, that if somebody does an apprenticeship at location A, that they can go,
Work somewhere else.
yeah.
In theory, yeah. So Missouri, it's a lot easier to get licensed than it is in Kansas.
Oh, so there's actual shit that's registered with the state, and it's not just you saying, knighting somebody.
No, no. Like she would have to. She had to be a high school graduate or have a GED certificate, bloodborne pathogens, and CPR before they'll even give you a training license.
CPR.
Yeah.
What's the concern? Just in case somebody croaks in the chair or whatever, or passes out. Yikes.
I had to use them a couple times.
Really?
Yeah, not to resuscitate, but definitely to wake people up that are unresponsive.
Why are they unresponsive?
All right, medical. What? Okay, so adrenaline needs fuel. Adrenaline uses blood sugar. Blood sugar tanks. You
Whoa.
pass out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
People, there's a science to that shit too. Like I can look at a kid and say, he's under 25. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. He's gonna fucking black out. It's so
A
weird.
customer that
Yeah.
might
Oh, getting
be
tattooed.
getting stuff done. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They'll just.
Wow.
Yeah. They haven't. It's like men have higher metabolisms. They're younger than 30, so they're still like lean. Maybe haven't eaten since breakfast because I have an afternoon appointment. Whatever. They come in. Oh, I'm so tough. I'm gonna get this tattoo, and I'm like, and one line in, I'm cradling him
Oh
like a
boy.
baby.
Oh my.
Yeah.
So you recover from this car crash thing, and then bring her on, and then shutdown happens.
No, shutdown was before this.
Shutdown. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we had just come back. I think they let us come back Memorial Day, and the car crashed I think it was September 3rd.
Okay.
So we've been back a couple months.
Right.
It was like, good God. Yeah, 2020 was hard.
Yeah.
But I had in my head, I was like, people are never going to wait a month, 3 months. They're never going to wait 3 months. I had 3 months of scheduling that I had to reschedule. And I'm like, people are never going to wait. I don't know what to do. I reach out to them and I'm like, hey, Kansas has tied my hands. I'm not allowed to tattoo. I promise you, I'm appealing to everybody. Like, I am well versed on disease control. I am well versed on pathogens. Like, please let me operate even one-on-one, masked. I bought gowns, surgical gowns. I bought the whole fucking everything you could get. And they were like, no. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And then Wyandotte County, the state was like, okay, well, it's by the county. And then Wyandotte was like, no, because our numbers were too high. And I don't disagree. But there are ways to
Right.
there are ways to prevent transmission,
Right.
just like any pathogen.
Right.
If I can not get HIV doing a tattoo, I can not get COVID doing a tattoo. So leave me alone. But yeah, it was crazy. So that year was wild, and I contacted people and was like, hey, I'm not going to be able to tattoo you for like 3 months, and there's 3 months of people ahead of you. And they were like, okay.
Wow.
What do you mean? Okay.
Cool.
And they were like, yeah, that's fine. We'll wait. I didn't have a
Nice.
single person ask for their deposit back.
Oh, there's to get on the waiting list, if you will, you got to throw down something. And now, does how much you have to put down depend on the size of or the scope of what you want done?
With some artists, yeah. I usually just take $150 and that comes off of the price of the tattoo. Like when you get
Okay.
either final session or if it's a one session tattoo.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So I've I don't know that I've actually thought this through until right this second, but I think that in looking at Dear You Tattoo as a name, I've had the notion of letter writing, like the intro to, but when you shared your experience, you leave place X and check out these other four spots, and the thing that you were looking for made me wonder if Dear You is more along the lines of valuing the person as a customer and not just a dollar sign. What is the name story?
So the name is I really liked the name Seven of Swords.
Mm.
And then I'm a nutcase, and I looked and I found one shop that was already called Seven of Swords. So I was like, all right, it's not going to be named Seven of Swords.
Elsewhere, not in
I
the
think it was in New York or something
okay.
like that. But I'm just
Done.
not that type of person, you know? So I was really digging deep, and my husband and I share a passion for music, and some of his music doesn't overlap with mine, but the stuff that we like together, we really enjoy. So can you think of an album that's called Dear You? Are you into punk at all?
No.
Okay. So there's a band, I wouldn't necessarily call them punk, but they're in the scope. They're called Jawbreaker.
Yeah. Somebody's had a Jawbreaker record on their list.
So Jawbreaker Dear You came out in like 1995.
Okay.
And if you've driven past or you looked at any photos of the building, there's a Missouri mule or a donkey painted on the side of the building. The cover of Dear You has a donkey on it.
Oh.
So it's kind of like we both really love that record, but it was more like I used to collect like postcards and love letters. Like I had a bunch of letters from my grandfather to my grandmother when I was a kid. And it was so cool. He was in the Navy, and it would be like, dear Dorothy, dear wife, dear you, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so my husband and I, when we were, in the dating phase, we would write dear you to
Nice.
each other. So
I
it was
love
just
it.
it was cool. But yeah, I was just like, I didn't want, there's already rah rah scary mom, like moms are scared to come in here, tattoo shop. I was like, we don't need another spooky, scary,
Yeah.
there's like 40 shops in the town where, I mean, they're great shops, but like, Purgatory, Mercy Seat,
Freaks.
yeah, freaks. Like,
Yeah.
they're the stigma's gone,
Uh-huh.
man. I'm tattooing cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't exist anymore.
I
But that
was
was the thing. It wasn't accessible to people like that because they were scared to go into those places.
yeah.
Guess where they're not scared to go?
Dear
Dear You
You.
Tattoo.
I was for a very short time dating a server in my restaurant days. That was like, I mean, this is 2002. I mean, so, and she was in it about as fully as you could be. Like that was her life, like, getting work done, and then moving the needle in the direction of becoming an artist, a tattoo artist, and
Okay.
has been ever since. And
Okay.
is now and has been in Oklahoma for quite some time.
Oklahoma has had some really up and down with their legality down
Oh,
there.
really?
They've taken it away a couple times because of like hepatitis and
Oh, wow.
stuff. Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, off topic.
Yeah, but I mean, so like, like we hang out and go out, and a couple times she came to my place, and then one time she invited me to hers, and I had heard stories about. I was aware that she had roommates that were all in that network, and we went over there, and they're all just hanging out in the family room, watching TV or whatever, drinking beers, but no shortage of work on anybody.
Yeah.
And that, like, I walk in, and immediately there was a vibe. Like,
They're like, who's this
and
fucking
one
guy?
dude sitting on the couch, he's got a T-shirt on that says, "Please do not feed the untattooed," or something like
Something
that.
like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
And I was just like,
You're like, uh-oh. What did I get into
but it
here?
like totally verified that, which
Mm-hmm.
was already here. I don't, I guess it was there because the image and the.
It was a thing forever. I got my first tattoo in 2000. I made the appointment before I even turned 18. So we were talking about social work earlier. I was in foster care.
Okay.
So they wouldn't sign for me to get a tattoo. So I was like, all right, I'll go make this appointment for when I turn 18. And then it was like you could just walk in any day and just get a tattoo, you know? So I went in and I was like, I want to make an appointment for the end of May. And they were like, it's fucking February. Like, oh, sit down. I'll tattoo you right now. I was like, well, I'm only 17. And they were like, oh, yeah, all right, you can wait. So I show up for my appointment and they're like, wow, you actually came. It's like, well, yeah. I knew I wanted to be tattooed from like 8 years old. Probably.
Really?
Yeah, we went to, my dad had one as a kid. And it was just like a rose covering a name, I think. He had the name done. And then he covered it with a rose for my mom or whatever. But we were at Disney World. And and they're like changing the diaper of my sister in the back of the minivan. And the C10 pickup with three like punk looking girls pulls up next to us. And they get out and they've got like tattoos and safety pins. And I was like, I want to be like that when I get older. And my mom was like, no, you're
8?
not. I was little. Yeah, my sister was she was less than a year old. So, yeah. Yeah.
Funny.
My mom said in kindergarten I wrote like that I wanted to be a roller derby. When they're like, I want to be this when I grow up, I put roller derby.
That's the like super
Yeah.
kick the crap out of the person, tough.
Skating.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like really big in Chicago. They had like the men and women on the same teams.
Oh my.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like big.
Huh. Wow. So, man, 8. That's wild.
Yeah, I was 1-1. He's like, you don't know, it hurts so bad. You don't want it.
Isn't it? I mean, it does a little bit, but it's also dependent upon the part of the body,
Yeah,
right?
of course it hurts. Yeah, it hurts a lot.
That's funny.
But yeah, it depends on the size. It depends on the detail. It depends on where it's going. But yeah, they hurt.
Yeah.
You don't have any?
None. So I graduated high school in '93.
Okay.
And kind of leaving, one foot out the door of that life and the other foot in the freshman at college. I was kind of seeing it, like it was really gain. And then I turned and it's like everybody is doing it, and I was like, well, what do I? The idea that I had was this notion. I think it's Greek mythology. It's called the Tanis root. And it looks like a stark tree in the winter. It's just a bunch of thin limbs. And I was like, and then on some of I'll have things that I like or things about me.
Yeah.
And that was, 30 years ago. And
Yeah. Didn't ever pull the trigger on it.
No, I didn't. But who knows? So are you born and raised in the area or?
No, I was born in Waukegan, Illinois.
Okay, you mentioned Chicago. I wondered.
Yeah.
And you have a younger sister?
Yeah, I've got a couple younger sisters.
But you're the oldest.
I am.
Okay.
I don't speak to one of them.
Okay.
The other one's 20 years younger than me.
Dang.
From my mother.
Okay.
So that's even more wild.
What do you mean?
She was born from my mother 20 years later than me.
Oh, okay.
So my mom was in her 40s when she had
what do they call your geriatric?
Yeah,
in
definitely.
The pregnancy?
Yeah, and some fucking 25-year-old male nurse probably tagged that. He was like, geriatric pregnancy.
Stamp it.
Hit it, man. It's good. Yeah, so I talked to the younger one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one that was having the diaper changed in the minivan?
No, that was the one I don't
talk to. Gotcha. Okay.
She's about 7 and some change younger than me.
Okay.
Years.
So any idea how mom and dad met?
My bio mother and father definitely met at some sort of drinking opportunity, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing.
And then were they not a unit long or?
I think no, they were divorced by the time I was 2, probably.
2? Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then mom moved us here because I had an aunt that lived in Westport.
Okay.
And it was a big house, and she was like, "I need help." My mom was like 21, I think, 22 maybe.
Okay.
So she moved us here, and we actually lived above Frickin' Frack.
Oh, no kidding.
When we first, yeah.
Wow.
I think she worked there briefly. It was like 85 or
wow.
something like that, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Rudy, the owner, used to make my birthday cakes.
Really? Yeah. Wow. What a trip.
Yeah.
And so, were you guys in that space for a good bit, or did you move to something different? Or
She hooked up with another guy that she ended up marrying up in Roland Park, and
okay,
that was kind of my childhood
okay,
house.
gotcha. All
Yeah.
right,
So I spent most of my formative years like in Kansas City. I've moved away and back a couple times. I've lived with other family a couple times.
sure.
Yeah.
Were in that Roland Park spot, were they putting on music to listen to that you can recall?
Yeah, as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What kind of stuff were they into?
So mom was into, if I was gonna just call it, I would say rock and roll.
Okay.
So, formative years, you are just bopping around the house as a child, and I have some uncanny ability to remember. They're like, next up is Elton John, whatever, and I'd be like, okay, and my little brain was like, now that's in my brain. So my mom learned this fun party trick to ask Amber when she is driving around with me in the car, hey Amber, who is this? And I'd be like, it's the pale guy. I'm talking about Elton John. And then she'd be like, hey Amber, who's this? And I would go, it's the boss. I loved Bruce Springsteen. I still love Bruce
Do
Springsteen.
you really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Nebraska's sick as fuck.
I know. I know.
So good.
I had a summer where I was like, God damn it, this is the time. Now I'm gonna become. I got to get in there and figure out. And so I listened to the first three, and then I knew I was gonna like Nebraska, and I
So
listened to it
good.
and I liked it, and something happened and it just fizzled. I mean, I've listened to some here and there, and folks have had a boss record or two on lists, and I don't dislike it, but I don't
It's not
also.
East Street. Like, East Street's not it. That's not what you love about Bruce Springsteen. He's fucking such an insane songwriter.
Yeah.
But
My favorite moments were like 87-ish when Tunnel of Love and Brilliant Disguise and these kinds of sort
you
of.
like the later stuff.
I
To
mean,
me, that's
well,
better.
but there's been stuff
Yeah, I
since
don't
then.
listen to any of that crap.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't know. I think maybe Born to Run.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
mean, but that has to be. I was still very young, so I would imagine that stuff still. What Nebraska's 82, right?
I think Born to Run's like 79.
Yeah, it's like that's what
Yeah.
she was into,
Okay. Interesting.
And then that stepdad died. I don't remember what he
Oh,
liked
really?
at all. Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever.
You don't
He had
remember?
an aneurysm.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's the see you later.
He came home to take a nap because he had a headache and never woke up. Wow. Yeah, it's wild.
Shit.
She ended up remarrying, and the guy that I call my dad that had the tattoo is my stepdad, number 2. He liked the Beatles. I'm pretty sure I know he liked Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
We had some silly records in the house, like Cheech and Chong. Yeah, the one, I can't even remember what it's called. Basketball Jones and stuff like that is on it.
Basketball Jones.
Oh, God. Oh, it's so good.
Every night.
It's
I put
terrible.
that basketball beneath my pillow.
I love that you know it. The rolling paper was still in the record. It
Yeah,
was
oh, nice,
fantastic.
nice.
Yeah, that definitely went up in smoke in 95.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. But yeah,
The
so
paper
like,
did. The paper went up and nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, with many paper.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's this big. Let's go for it.
That one of my favorite lines. Well, there's a million, but when they get pulled over, and have you seen the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he asks for his driver's license. Isn't it on the car back there, man?
It's so good.
And then Mexican Americans who like to go to night school and take Spanish and get a C. And then Beaners. Just a
That's it.
song about.
What's that other one is about gonorrhea. Like the whole song,
Oh,
Rotten
dun-dun-dun,
Peter.
dun-dun-dun.
Rotten Peter.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. But I'm like a child listening
yeah.
to this. So in ways of like, she facilitated. We had this huge, big fucking Pioneer head unit, these giant speakers.
Really?
And she would like turn them to face the windows outside, and she would be like spring cleaning and shit. just blaring Bruce Springsteen.
To the outdoors.
Yeah. I mean, we lived on a cul-de-sac in Roland Park, back in the 80s, but she was not really what got me like more into music. My uncle he's an audiophile. He is deceased now, but he was always obsessed with music. He lived in St. Louis. He would always live shows every night. He
Damn.
was like a delivery driver for like an in-town courier forever. And he would just be like, they pay pretty good. Excuse me. They pay pretty good, and I can go to the bar at night.
Right.
So he would go. He was super into like Big Head Todd and the Monsters, and he got me into like David Bowie,
Nice.
Tom Waits. I
Nice.
love Tom Waits. So
Hell yeah.
like he got me into a lot of that stuff. So my love of horror movies and music both come from him, and he was just like. He got me onto Ziggy Stardust.
Oh,
Ziggy
wow.
Stardust, you got Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Here you go. Take this, take this, take this. He would just give me stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, this is awesome.
Is he giving you vinyl?
So I had a couple vinyl. I had this fucking Mickey Mouse, no shit,
Actual.
record player in a case, and it had like a latch, so it would only play little ones.
Yep.
But you could just bend it and flip it down, and it would play a full size LP. So I listened to some of that stuff, but we had a full size record player at home.
Okay.
But so he was like, tell me, this is going to ring some bells for you. He was like, you need to get on this BMG shit
Oh, yeah.
and get some
Columbia
fucking-
House.
Oh my God. He had me scamming everybody in the world getting free shit. So that's really where you get the catalog and you flip through it and you're like, okay. He's like, I want you to check out this band Hum. You're going to like them. And
Okay.
I'm like, okay. So I'm like, Hum. And then he's like, all right, you've been watching MTV. You like that Primus band? You like Mr. Crinkle? Yeah, I like Mr. Crinkle. The Primus has a new album. You're going to get this. So he would kind of walk me through. And then he's like, go through and
Wow.
do this. Or watch this at this time of night. And that'll give you some good music and stuff. So that's kind of where what opened the door. So childhood really changed for me after 8, 9 years old. After my little sister was born, things changed a lot in our household. We were not immune to the drug addiction bug. So growing up as an angsty young person with an already pretty good level foot into music, I really just went immediately
Sure.
into the like heavier stuff. So by heavier, I mean like I was like, oh, well, this time on BMG, I'm going to get Megadeth and I'm going to get Bat Out of Hell and I'm going to get, whatever. But I always listened to like a little bit of everything, but it really like my cousins in Chicago were a little more into like industrial. So they were like, you remember when you were at our house for Christmas and we were listening to that whatever? That was 9 Inch Nails. So I got Pretty Hate Machine, and Pretty Hate Machine was like, I'm like 12 probably at this point. I was born in 82. I think Pretty Hate Machine came out in like 89 or something like that. So a couple of years after that, I'm like 11, 12 years old. We get taken away from our parents and I'm living with my grandparents over the summer.
Is this tied to the drug addiction thing? No shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bio mom and stepdad too?
They were,
That's who you got taken from?
we didn't get taken away at
Oh.
that point. They relinquished us to our grandparents so they could go to rehab.
Okay.
So I'm with my granddad, my bio grandfather, her
Her dad.
father.
Okay.
Loved him to death. My best friend in the whole world. Not super into music
Okay.
or anything. He was a mechanic, ex-Navy guy. Taught me how to swim, hunt, fish, whatever. Cool guy, best friend. Loved him to death. When we would go to my stepdad's family, very Jesus-y. And they lived on the Lake of the Ozarks too, other side.
Is this because they just
They're
want
split
visitation?
Yeah, split the summer with us. Yeah, so we
That's
had, like,
it.
We had a couple weeks at my grandfather, and then a couple weeks with my half sister's grandparents. So, and they were nice people, but they, very into Jesus.
Yeah.
They also had computers.
Oh boy.
So I'm sitting around CDs will work in the computers. I can put the headphones in. I can listen to
Is
them.
that what when you're BMGing, it's for CDs, not
Yeah.
cassettes? Okay.
Yeah, CDs. So I'm sitting. Yeah, I feel like I did have some cassettes. I know that Megadeth for sure was on cassette because I wore it out, but which just sucks now. I don't listen to it at all anymore. I hate Megadeth now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you're not
I just
offending me.
yeah, I was just like, wow, I listened to this? That's weird. So I'm like listening to Pretty Hate Machine on an old, I feel like it was called an IBM or something, old
Sure,
ass
yeah,
computer.
yeah.
And I'm typing.
That's if you're familiar with the 2001 and the year we make contact.
Oh no.
And
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
2000 whatever, Space Odyssey I think is the other one. The robot that they, do you remember the robot's name from these?
No.
Hal,
Oh. Are you talking about the one with the weird arms?
maybe.
Or the different one? The one that's more humanoid? Or the one that's like
I I
that
think
one?
that, yeah.
Okay.
And they got that name by just going one letter earlier in IBM.
Oh my god. That's fucking cheesy.
It's the 80s, dude. Of course
Yeah,
it's
you're
cheesy.
right. You're right. When there were original ideas,
Yeah,
they weren't thinking of
right.
any. So I'm tattooing. I'm typing the lyrics to like Head Like a Hole and Terrible Lie, and I'm
Okay.
just typing them. I'm just listening to them, typing them out. You know, the super Jesus-y Christmas Christian loving grandmother of 17 comes in and says, "What the fuck is that?"
What would Jesus do?
And I go, "It's lyrics." And she goes, "Do you know what God money means?" And I was like,
God,
"No, I'm 11."
God money?
That's the lyrics to the song. It's
Oh,
like,
okay.
"God money, I'll do anything for you.
Okay.
God money, just tell me what you want me to."
Okay. Okay.
It's just lyrics.
Yeah.
At 11 years old, they're
Yeah.
just lyrics.
Uh-huh.
And I'm, drawing on my arm the 9-inch nail symbol on my arm. And I'm like, I'm going to get this tattoo. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, I got my ass beat and grounded for about a week.
They would spank you?
I got spanked, yes,
But
for sure.
the Jesus loving?
Oh, yes. Are you serious?
Jiminy Christmas.
Come on.
That's wild. I mean, it's not unheard of by any stretch, but
No. Do you know it's still legal in Kansas
to spank?
to reprimand or discipline your children by physical force?
I mean, I don't.
We've never. I mean, maybe no. I can't think of a time like we've talked about it for sure. Like if you have to spank a kid, spank a kid. But our kids were always good.
Yeah.
Like our kids are like, it's cool, man.
I had a 3-year residence in Atlanta, suburb of Atlanta. My mom remarried, and he immediately got transferred. And then, I don't remember what I did, but twice I did something that warranted. He sat on the toilet and bent me over
Bare-ass spanking, did you?
completely neck with a belt.
Oh yeah,
And it was like, I mean, I was 8.
yeah.
Probably for both of them, but I didn't have these words at the time, but just very, very profound feeling of that was so fucked up.
It's just violating,
and like,
right?
I don't know, but I think that I compartmentalized the pain and was just so overwhelmed by the fact that A, my mom would sign off on this, and B, like if it's like legit to do this to a kid, I would 1,000% prefer that it be my dad and not this fucking clown,
Yeah.
So when people are like, you shouldn't spank, I'm like, and certainly I got the occasional fanny swatting.
Yeah, a drive-by swatting.
Yeah,
Whatever.
One time we were at my dad's apartment for the weekend, and we were both in the tub. My sister's 3 years younger than me, and I was always the fucking day she arrived fucking with her.
Oh yeah.
Like just now, I got to take half of the attention and just hand it over to you, piece
Yeah.
of shit. What So I was fucking with. He came in. He was like, knock it the fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
And okay. And then he left, and I did it again, and she slipped and hit her head on the handle piece of the in wall where you put the bar of soap.
Yeah.
And screamed, and he came in. Now there's blood in the bathtub water.
Shit.
And he lifted me out of there by my wrist I mean, I had a red handprint, and to this day, I'm like, totally deserved
Oh,
that,
yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah. A
Anyway,
similar story I won't go into, but I definitely, yeah. When put in that situation where my parents are pretty much obsolete and I'm left to care for this kid, that is just awful. I was also awful. So, like,
right.
not the best sister ever, probably. But yeah, definitely had an incident like that. And I definitely deserved an ass whooping, and I don't remember if I ever got it.
Hmm.
So, I mean, not to say that I didn't have my ass beat a couple
Right.
times, but never for the right reasons.
Yeah. So, all right, you've got some music at home. You've got uncle that's kind of guiding you a little bit. You're doing the
Yeah.
BMG thing. Um, Outside of what you shared with me list wise, is there, and maybe it was that Nine Inch Nails record, is there an album that you like totally first fell in love with or bought or borrowed, um, that comes to mind?
I would say that Nine Inch Nails record probably was like I've went through so many copies of that record in
Oh,
my
wow.
lifetime for sure. But I was very into the Wall as
Nice.
well.
Nice. It's a mind fuck.
A lot of oh yeah, absolutely. And then once I saw the movie, I was like, oh fuck,
I
okay.
can't not every, I knew it for so long, and one of these days I got to watch it. And then I finally did, and it's like the eyebrows and the sausage, just like,
Yeah.
oh, I wish I'd never watched it.
Right. So like I probably have not seen The Wall since I was maybe 14 or 15, and I don't intend to watch it ever
Don't.
again.
Oh, I just got
But it was
the
like
willies.
yeah, I probably won't, but it was like it was something about wearing those headphones that are just this fucking big with a 30-foot long coiled up cable and just listening to electronic stuff that is put together with a mixer, and there's a guy playing guitar, and there's some whispering going on in the background, and you can't hear that stuff unless you have those giant headphones on. Anything that would appeal to that part of my brain was like, oh my god, you can hear everything that's happening. I got like just super soaked into it. The first time I heard, I think the record's called Astro Creep 2000,
Okay.
White Zombie.
Okay.
The first time I heard that, it blew my fucking mind because I was like, it's electronic, but there's people playing music. And like Nine Inch Nails, there's people playing it, but it's Trent Reznor.
Right.
He layered everything, recorded it himself. A lot of it's on like a Moog or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
mixer. So it was a very one man band, which I'm still, as you can tell by my list, very attracted to the kind of music that can be made by one person.
Yeah.
But so like that kind of stuff, anytime I could find something slightly more like a little more aggressive or a little more heavy guitar to it instead of just the bleeps and bloops and that kind of stuff, like I just really like dove into that
Nice.
stuff. A lot of people my age were like super into Nirvana
Uh
and
huh.
stuff like that, and Sonic Youth and Mudhoney, and I was like, eh,
Right.
I like oh, what was that record that I was ate up over when I was like, there was a Silverchair record. Frog Stomp, I think is the name of it.
Okay.
I was like, this is so good.
Nice.
And like I can still go back to it. Like it's still a good record.
I keep forgetting to say, I wish that at some point I was like, I'm going to make a spreadsheet and an episode and who you are and what
Uh-huh.
your albums were. And I started it, but it's like the backside of this eats all the time. And so
Oh, yeah.
it's just, at one point I got up to like episode 25 and I was like, oh, and that was a long time ago. And so I don't remember, but I think it was Jason Bice who had that Dear You record on his list. And
Oh, it just kind of clicked for you. You're like, I think I knew who that was.
I've been thinking it since you first said it, but I just, whatever. And, sometimes I got to skip around a little bit because I can't quite. I just don't have the time to get through every track of every record.
Yeah.
And sometimes I skip around because like stuff is
Not good.
I,
Not your cup of tea.
that not precisely
Yeah.
precisely.
Sure.
And his, I think, again, I might be wrong. Had he plays a claw, some kind of banjo.
Okay.
He gigs locally, but he had some heavy stuff on it. And it might not be him, but whoever it was that had it on their list, a lot of what they had was very aggressive. And like, I'm staying in there, I'm being observant, I'm taking notes, and then I remember getting to that record and being like, "Fuck, dude, this is like,"
because it's not heavy,
but it's intense, isn't it?
It's very snotty, kind of. Are we talking about Jawbreaker?
Yeah. No,
I mean,
maybe it was a different
is.
Jawbreaker record.
It is very Bivouac's kind of the heavy one.
That doesn't ring a bell like Dear You does.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, so it's very. It's more like a kind of an upbeat, but it's not. His lyrics are pretty gnarly.
Huh.
They're very gnarly.
Okay.
But he sings it in a way that you don't see it coming.
Huh.
And you just want to bob up and down. And then you're like, wait a second, did he just say he broke both of his legs? Like, that's pretty fucked up. Like, so it is. I mean, it depends on what you listen to. Like, what's your number one? What's your go-to?
Fish.
You could listen to it. Fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, to you, it would probably be heavy.
I mean, point being, it stuck out. Two different people have had a Hum record, and
That Hum record with the fucking zebra on is insane.
Is that the one?
It's so good. It's like teal with a zebra on the front of it or whatever. It's fucking insane. It's so good.
I'm picturing an album cover with like a soldier holding like some kind of machine gun. That's.
I'll show you because it's very straightforward.
The zebra, however, sounds familiar too. Anyway, so what about live music? Any concert memories, first or early?
My first one that I went to on my own as a teenager was a Green Day, and what were they called before? The Riverdales, I think. Screeching Weasel before they were Screeching Weasel.
Gotcha. Where do you remember the venue?
It was at Memorial Hall,
Oh.
I'm pretty sure. I think the album's called You'd Prefer an Astronaut. It is also from 1995.
Okay, I definitely.
It was a good year for like post-hardcore. It wasn't hardcore then.
Right.
It's almost emo, but Hum is just big music. It's just larger than life. Fills a whole room. You're like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I went to see Green Day. I think it was for Insomniac. It was probably 1993 or 1994.
Cool.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think I was in 8th grade or something like that. But yeah, 8th grade was kind of the turning point. I came back. My parents were super messed up, and I just stayed out of the house as much as I could. So
You're no longer with grandparents?
we were only there for that summer.
Oh. Mm-hmm. And then you're back with your.
Yeah, because they were clean, right? Yeah.
Meaning they passed whatever.
They went through rehab, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, I mean, honestly, I'm not. Whatever.
Yeah.
You probably won't even put any of this shit in there. But, like, or maybe you will.
No, we're
we're live.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
Yeah.
So, drug addiction is forever. It really is forever.
Right.
And my mother had a terrible teenage experience and was exposed to drugs really easy, and she just I have it in my head that a lot of my family was just never really equipped for this world. Both of her parents were addicts, not of drugs but of alcohol, and she's meeting her half sister that's only 4 years younger than her, and her parents were married for years and years and years. She's meeting her for the first time like next week, so it's just like she never had a chance.
Right.
So then you pair her up with my biological father, and then my alcoholic stepfather, and then the next stepfather. She just never had a chance.
Gosh.
She's like,
You're still in contact.
yeah, my mom and I talk.
Cool.
Yeah, we took some years off, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of things to say.
Yeah. So, but you come back eighth gradish and you're trying to stay out of the house as much as possible.
Yeah, and I spent a lot
make,
of.
you're able to make that happen
Oh yeah, I was gone all the time. They never even.
just on foot, on bike,
Yeah,
on.
foot mostly. Just
Okay.
walked everywhere. My range was pretty much I'd walk from like 67th and 67th and Neiman to like the plaza. And
What?
yeah, it's like squat and not squat, but like a panhandle a little bit and make some money here and there. And then one of my friends.
That is not a short walk.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
I was like, am I tripping?
No, it's a long walk.
Yeah.
And I think
It's a
about
long
it as
car ride.
I think about not in one day. I might go to the plaza from Roland Park.
Oh.
And then, I would go the other direction some other days.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
yes, I walked a lot for sure. But yeah, this girl Katie that I was friends with, she had an older brother named Lee, and I remember that Lee had a bumper sticker on his car that said "I brake for hallucinations." I think it was an Oldsmobile '88, like a huge hoopty of a car. But he would, oh fine, I'll take you, but get in the fucking car and don't say anything. And he'd take us to a show, and I think the Hurricane was a thing back then. And she looked older than she was. I think we were 8th and 9th grade or 8th grade.
Getting in to see stuff.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. We went and we actually she was smoking pot. Oddly enough, was talking about like joking about smoking weed or whatever. I never fucked with that shit when I was like little because of my parents. I just never messed with it. So like didn't drink, didn't smoke weed. My mom would always be like, do you smell like cigarettes? Do you smell like weed? I was like, I'm not doing drugs, you idiot. Like whatever. But, so anyway, we were like standing outside of Oak Park Mall and my friend Katie's smoking a roach that she stole from her brother's ashtray. And at the time, there's like this scrawny kid with like blonde hair and he's wearing like an upside down McDonald's, like the fucking bill that has like no top on it.
Visor?
Yes. Yeah. He's like wearing that and we're like standing there and he's like, hey, you guys go to shows? And we're like, yeah, we go to shows. And he's like, cool. Do you go to the Hurricane? And we're like, yeah, we go to the Hurricane. And he's like, cool, my band's playing tonight. You guys should come. And he like gave us tickets, right? We're like, okay, whatever. Well, like we could tell he was older than us, but we don't know how old, whatever. He gives us, yeah, my band's playing. And we're like, oh, cool. What's your band? And he's like, the Deftones. And we're like, what? The Deftones are awesome. We're going to go to the show. And so we fucking got into the show to see the Deftones in like 1994 or 95 or something like that.
That's kind of heyday for them.
Early. Yeah. So we like went to the show and I feel like, I don't remember who played. I really thought that Korn played it, but I don't remember.
Huh.
I know we didn't. We got kicked out. We saw them and then we got kicked out. I'm pretty sure.
How?
How do we get kicked out?
Yeah.
Let me see your ID.
Oh.
What are you, 12? Get out of here. We're like,
but they're not checking that at the door?
Would they just let us in the back? Because they used to have that smoking patio out
Yeah.
back. And
Yeah.
They would just let you in. They didn't care.
Nice.
Yeah, she was very like busty. She was probably a year older than me, but maybe behind or something. I don't remember. But she was like, she looked like she could have been 17 or something. And I was like, I don't know what we're doing here, but I like music.
Right.
Yeah, we listened to like Smashing Pumpkins, and I liked Alice in Chains a lot, and she liked Mudhoney, stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that shit's okay, but I like stuff where they scream at you a little bit more. I will jam that Alice in Chains Unplugged album like all the time.
I have spent way more time than I will ever admit consuming reaction videos. On YouTube and
of other people like seeing it for the first time or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, and the set opener of that is Nutshell.
It's so fucking sad.
And
you can tell how sad he is.
Well, you can't see his eyes. He's got big old dark shades on, but they all take the stage individually, and then he comes out, purple hair, and I've read that they had to give him something to fight the withdrawal and the sickness from the big stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, he hasn't even fully situated himself on that stool and just right into the first note.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jerry's on this acoustic, and the bass player's on this acoustic bass. I mean, and there's Candle.
Dude,
Oh
my
my,
brain's playing the song
yeah.
immediately.
And my lone criticism, and I not that if I had the power to change it, I don't know that I would, but it's so short.
The set.
The song,
Oh, yeah. Oh God.
well, I guess everything really coming off of Sap and Jar of Flies was pretty short, but oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. No, it's insane. And anytime people are like, Alice in Chains sucks, I'm like, listen to this fucking record, and they'll be like, that's so good. The first time I heard that record, I think I was in Scottsdale. I think Kurt Cobain had died. Right?
The first time you heard the Unplugged.
I
Okay.
think so.
Did you know that?
Because Kurt had died right before that, right? I'm not well versed on that shit, but the only reason I remember we were staying with an aunt in Scottsdale for the same reasons. I think it was the next summer.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think so.
And I remember getting the spin with Kurt Cobain on the front of it, and I was like, "Oh fuck, that's a bummer."
Yeah.
But they had MTV.
That shit. I don't want to say like right now, but up until very recently, Unplugged was still going. Like there's like 100. There's so many. Like I know of 7 or 8. Like
how could anything be compared to that one though?
Well, I mean, you know, the Nirvana one was good. Neil Young was good. Lauryn Hill's was decent, but yeah, none of them compare. Really.
I watch more of the Tiny Desk concerts now.
Yeah, those are good.
They are.
Good. So 8 years old, diaper, Disneyland. You know, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
And the appointment when you're 17, going on 18 to get that first tattoo. Mm-hmm. What is it? What was the inspiration? Did you draw it? What's the story there?
So, not unlike you're talking about like circa 02, 03, you were familiar with some people that were into getting tattoos and stuff. A lot of those people would just walk in and grab something off the wall. There wasn't a lot of custom drawings back then. People did start getting into custom stuff or whatever, but so you would go in and there would be a flash rack is what they called it. Yeah. So you would just go, I want D12, you know, whatever. And you would just get whatever that image was because you thought it was cool or whatever. I was very into, as you can imagine, with a kid struggling with why the fuck is life like this, I was very much into that God didn't exist. But if he didn't exist entirely, why were so many cultures obsessed with the possibility of deities, you know? So I got very into Egyptian mythology.
Okay.
And that was wildly interesting to me. Like, this is weird. This was so many years before Jesus Christ, but the story is still the same. Horus is Jesus. It's just wild to me. I was like fucking 16. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't know. Just like very into the idea that there was still some sort of Christ-like deity before Christ, you know? So I'm like, okay, how far does this stuff go back? So I got really into that kind of stuff. And I was like, my first tattoo is going to be an ankh, which is the Egyptian cross, basically, with the loop on top of it. I'm sure you've seen it.
Probably.
It's like...
Okay.
So I'm like, I want that. And I want it with the all-seeing eye in the center of the loop. And then I want a cartouche, which is an Egyptian symbol. It's basically a tablet that says something. It's called a cartouche. And I was like, I want that to say sin. And then I want it to be watching. The ankh means life. So it's watching over a life of sin. That's what I wanted, because that's basically been my fucking whole life.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's what I want. And so the guy's like, you all right? And I'm like, yeah, what do you mean? Like, I'm totally fine.
This is first tattoo?
First tattoo, yeah.
And custom stuff is not that popular then?
Yeah, so I go in with a printed image from the library that I copied for 10 cents or 5 cents or whatever. And then I bring him in examples of an all-seeing eye. and then I bring him in.
Fucking homework.
Oh, yeah. No, and that's how it used to be. You used to have to do that stuff if you wanted it custom. So he drew it for me, and I went in and got the tattoo, and he was like, wow, you sat really well. And I was like, yeah.
You call that pain?
Yeah, you don't know what I've been through. So he's like, wow, kid, you're kind of fucked up. When are you coming in for your next one? And I was like, I don't know. And so, I got a job, and I was working at a Ford dealership, and I would make like $400 a week, man. I was loaded, just working my ass off, and I'd be like, all right, my rent's 700, and I got some
Oh,
bills.
you are on your own.
I am at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved out of the foster parents' house. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I think I have enough money. This one was like 100.
Wait, so you go back with mom and stepdad number 2, and then you're elsewhere again before you're 18?
Oh gosh.
Okay.
I
all right.
I ran away from home when I was 15.
Okay.
It was not going to be good for me if I stayed. So I
No
had to go.
shit.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
Okay.
So ran away from home, and then
I mean, did they try to find you?
not particularly. No.
God damn.
I got caught, and I was using somebody else's identity to evade that. But our phone was disconnected because they never had any money, and drug addicts are not going to answer the door for the sheriff's department. So when they found me and ended up finding out who I was, my parents wouldn't answer the door.
No shit.
Yeah.
So then you get put in the system.
Yes. Yeah. Which they did find out who I was, and they did try and make me go home, and I had proof of my mom's drug use, so they couldn't make me.
Oh, wow. Homework again.
Don't leave a picture of yourself doing crack and a bustier in the house.
Sorry, that's not funny, but
No. What's even worse is I stuck it in I had a copy of the Necronomicon, and I stuck it in there.
A copy of what?
The Necronomicon. It's like a fake book from...
It sounds familiar. I'm just making sure these are... I have recorded entire episodes and realized that I didn't hit record.
Oh,
And
God.
it's like, we can't... That was our one.
That was it, man.
So they get posted and it's audio only, but
Oh, yeah.
it's happened more than once, so occasionally, like, I'll just get overcome
You think
with
you
paranoia.
didn't do it?
Yeah.
Did I leave the garage door open?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The Necronomicon is a book by, oh, God damn, of course I'm not. What does he look like? Doesn't matter. He's the guy who invented, like, Cthulhu and stuff.
Invented what?
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu. Dude, I mean...
Buddy, come on.
I live in a...
What is his name? I'll look it up real quick. Anyway, it's basically a fake satanic Bible.
Oh.
That's what it is. It's not actually a satanic Bible, but that's what... But like I said, I was very into like other religions and that kind of pursuit of that kind of stuff. Nomicon. Okay. My internet doesn't work down here. That's good. It worked earlier. I don't know why I can't remember his name because I joke all the time that my friend looks like him.
How does one spell this term? Necrothulu?
Necronomicon. There we go.
There.
H.P. Lovecraft. I don't know why I
Okay.
couldn't remember.
Okay.
I have a friend that looks like him, and it just drives me crazy. Anyway, it's an H.P. Lovecraft book that he is basically insinuating that this is the real Book of the Dead. This is the Satanic Bible. It's not at all, but it's a fiction. It's a work of fiction. Nobody wants to open it because it's the Satanic Bible. So when I found that picture, I jammed it in there and nobody ever looked. So when I ran away, I had some belongings and that was in there. And so they were like, you're going home. And they finally got a hold of my mom and she was acting very innocent. She was like, your ass is grass when you get home. And I was like, then I'm not coming home. So, yeah.
So you're working for Ford, making enough to pay your rent.
Yeah, paying for my own stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to go get another tattoo. And this tattoo artist that I'm going to is I don't know any of the bands that he was in, but he was a very good vocalist for some bands in Lawrence. So he would be playing stuff and singing along to it. And that's how our sessions would go. He'd be singing music. We would get into music together, whatever. And he was very into like Incubus,
Mm,
Tool, stuff like that. He also liked that Silverchair band that I was
mm.
talking about. But the other guy that was the owner of the shop wasn't into music at all. And I was like, "What do you like to listen to?" And he's like, "I don't." And I was like, "What?" It
My
just blew my
thoughts.
fucking mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you listen to? All day? Like, what the fuck, man?
People going, ow.
Which I get it now. I wouldn't have to listen to anything. Sometimes I'll just drive and not listen to anything at all.
I think, uh, I mean, that was so much of the fabric of who I was as a young person. And now, driving is, I know it's a lot of this is like old and anxiety and that kind of stuff, but it's fucking dangerous out there.
Yeah.
People are maniacs. Nobody's paying attention. And like, I either can't enjoy, I can't reach the level of enjoyment, or it's like fucking up the song or the album or whatever for me because of all of this. So
The
sometimes,
stimulus.
yeah, sometimes,
Stimuli.
man, just
Yeah, I just won't listen to anything. And people are like, "Oh, now I understand why they listen to like talk radio and stuff." And I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to listen to that either." It'll just be like, "Oh, look, a pigeon." Whatever. I don't care. Like, I don't need to listen to
pigeon.
it. But like at work, you get there and it's talking and music and resizing things and helping people, and they need my help. They need this. They need that. I'm like doing. So the second I get in the car, I'm like, no,
Yeah, shut it off.
I don't need to listen to
So what
anything.
was the second one?
Second what?
Tattoo.
I think the second and third one I got at the same time.
Okay,
And they were also Egyptian cartouches.
cool.
And they said angry one.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Because I was.
Now, have you kept a?
They're covered.
Oh shit!
covered now.
You've had shit done on top of shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're covered. They were on my forearms. I went immediately to my forearms. And an 18-year-old girl having her forearms tattooed in 2000 is pretty different.
Yeah.
People were like, what the fuck? Like,
Well, I've said this on here before, but the place where I met my ex and did my longest run as a chef in Kansas City, next door to the hurricane. And in 2000, when I started there, it was explicitly, probably even in print, but it was a known. There were no visible tats, no pierce, nothing. We would not hire you.
yeah.
And then that place shut its doors. I mean, it had a nice 25-year run. I think in 2020 they closed for good.
What restaurant?
This is McCoy's.
Oh, yeah.
They closed to reconcept as Mickey's. And I mean, for the last 5, 8, 10 years they were open. Show me a server that doesn't have
Yeah.
sleeves and
Oh, yeah.
septum. I mean,
especially in Westport.
yeah,
Good
and it's
God.
like good, wise for you to evolve
Yeah.
with the policies.
all of that stuff became, it was basically, I feel like maybe 2008 or something like that. It was just like a switch because they put Kat Von D on TV.
They put what?
Kat Von D, she's
Oh.
like kind of a
Oh.
famous
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
tattooer. They
Yeah.
made a TV show out of it. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, oh, girls can have tattoos. Oh, people have tattoos and they're on TV. It's not even that big of a deal anymore. It was like somebody just turned the valve and everybody started getting tattooed.
Yeah.
And so people all the time, well, what do you think changed the industry? Fucking television.
Wow.
Television's what changed the industry. And it is what it is. There are a lot of tattooers that are still very much like into the pirate aspect where they only take cash and they'll never own anything and they pay cash for everything and they're, whatever. And I was just like,
You said pirate. I immediately am thinking like the anchor and the old school
like literally pirates where they're just almost off the grid, where you have to walk in and get a tattoo from them. You can't reach them online, like those kind of guys, which don't get me wrong, there's a fucking place for that shit.
Of course.
But like our studio's not like
But
that.
see, those things that you had covered, that sounded cool. Like why did you?
They just didn't like that. I let that part of my life go.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't. I mean, and they were also like the first thing people would see. And I was like, if I'm going to I didn't cover them until much later. Until I knew I was becoming a tattoo artist, I didn't cover them up. I left them alone. I honestly didn't get any more tattoos below my elbows until I knew I was going to tattoo as well. And that shit has changed. Kids are getting their fucking faces tattooed. Second tattoo.
Didn't get any tattoos below my elbows.
I didn't
Oh,
get any
gotcha.
more.
I'm thinking,
No, just
what?
on my arms.
Okay.
I didn't get any more visible ones
Gotcha.
until I knew I was going to do that. I was a mechanic for years, so I worked on
Years.
yeah
Okay.
yeah. So and it varied. Like sometimes it was lube center, sometimes it was just like a fucking Jiffy Lube or a Valvoline, and sometimes it was like DOT inspections and like line work at a shop. So it varied, different versions of it or whatever. But yeah, I wanted, like, my granddad was a mechanic. He got me into cars. I very much liked everything boy. I was like, yeah, I like boy stuff. It's way more interesting, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was into cars, I was into music, and I was into tattoos. And people were like, oh, you're kind of cool. And I was like, no, I'm not. Leave me alone. For years and
I
years.
saw some, it might have been a long form Instagram or TikTok, about just kind of, I mean, there's lawsuits and shit about it where the world of mechanic is like fucked because everything is like proprietary. Like, it's John Deere, and this farmer, he has, massive pieces of equipment, and this tractor is like faulty, and they won't lend you the piece of equipment, and you can't. It makes it so you go and you've got to just dump insane amounts of money to get this thing operational that should have just been and there's only one way, and all of the people involved are it's rigged
Yeah.
just to, and so the
It's
little,
so you can't work on it yourself. You can't repair it. Yeah.
yes,
So modern vehicles, I would say, they put OBD2 systems in like 93 and up, I think, which is the brain, the computer.
yep,
So everything changed from there. I would say you could still kind of work on your own stuff through maybe like 2006. You could kind of get in there and work on some stuff. Nothing foreign, mind you, because they put cases and shields on everything. But like '08 is kind of the cusp of that too, where like I remember like Obama coming in and I was like, what the fuck is this? And you have to take like 17 different size bolts out of shit to change the oil. I was like, what's going on here? Did a mechanic piss an engineer off and they're just like making sure that we can't get to this shit? And they were like, no, they're making sure that customers can't work on their own stuff. So
and then I mean it affects shops too, because not everybody can afford to pay for the thing that you
that's why
need to.
cars are throwaways now. They just want you to go buy another one.
So do you have you kept a tally, a total of your number of tattoos? Do you know off the top? You don't know?
No,
Really?
no.
Okay.
I just have one. It's just one big one.
So, did you at some point arrive at a space where you're like, I like this person and this person is going to do all the work on me moving forward? Or do you do you move around?
No, so I do know this. My first 13 tattoos were from the same guy, the
Okay.
one that I was talking about. I got all of them from him. And then I had asked him to do a tattoo for me, and he was uncomfortable with the tattoo. So I was like, why don't you want to do it? And he's just like, I don't think you need anything on your chest. And I was like, that's fucking weird. And so I moved to San Diego. Maybe that next winter, I moved to San Diego, and I was I went and got my tax return. No shit. I went and got my tax return, and I walked past the tattoo shop, and I was like, huh, I wonder what it's like getting tattooed in California. And I went in, and the first guy that I met was a super fucking nice guy, ex Navy SEAL. He was awesome. And he was like, yeah, I'll do that tattoo for you. And it was Latin across my chest. and he made his apprentice come and hold my hand because he thought it would hurt. It was very cute.
That is cute.
It was cute. But I got Naildum ad desidero, which is like basically nothing left to lose. Ish.
Okay.
Something loosely. And he was like, that's pretty cool. I like that. I was like, it's more like a been there, done that kind of thing than a sad thing. And he's like, oh, I like it even better. He was a cool guy. But anyway, so I got that tattoo from him. And then when I came back for like Christmas the next year or whatever, the tattoo artist I had been going to was like, well, now you already have one, so I'll do it. So then he put a skull, and then we added a whole chest piece, and then I just kept getting them. It wasn't going to stop. Like, I got a second job when I was 18 to get tattooed.
Okay.
I was like, I need more income.
So, but now, I mean, when's the last time you got one?
I got 2 last week.
Last week from folks that you employ?
No.
Okay.
One of them used to work with me.
Okay.
He has his own shop in Leavenworth now.
You drove to Leavenworth for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's my friend. He's
Nice.
cool. His name's Joshua. He owns, I think it's True Love
Okay.
Tattoo Club. Yes.
Okay.
And then my other homie, so that was the front of my knee. And then I went to see my other friend, Scott Schickman, that works at Dunright Tattoo, and he did the back of my knee.
Oh, wow.
Same knee. It was kind of the only spot that I had left on that leg, and I was just tired of looking at it. I've been like doing all this working out and stuff, and I'm like, this fucking naked knee is driving me
Unique
crazy.
annoyance to have.
It's like, why are you naked? Get out of here. So yeah, I went and got those done last week. I might go a year. I've gone a year before without getting tattooed. I'm like, I'm not interested. It fucking hurts. These are stupid. And then I was just like, I'm ready to start getting tattooed again. So I went and got these kind of as a test in the waters. I'm in the middle of a back piece on my own back and I hate it. It hurts real bad. So I'm like, let me go see how bad this really bad spot is.
Yeah, the knee sounds...
It's not great, but honestly, it wasn't as bad as I remember.
Okay.
I was like, okay, like maybe I'm getting tougher or something. No, it's not a thing. Just dumb enough to just sit there.
Yeah.
So
you'll bounce around right now.
Yeah, I'll just find somebody that I like their tattoos and I'll just have them put a piece on me. I don't have a lot of body left anymore.
I bet.
So I have my stomach and my ribs and a butt cheek.
Okay.
And the front of my neck, but I don't know if I intend to do
what
that.
you know, I don't want to say growing, but I feel like it's become, and this is just a dumb human looking at the internet,
Sure.
mostly social media, like folks, it seems like more folks have face work done
tattoos
than before, and that I don't think will ever cease to amaze me.
That whole thing is just the times. So when in 2000, 2002, 2003, it was shocking to have a full sleeve.
Right.
Shocking.
Yeah.
You saw somebody with a neck tattoo? Holy shit. It's just the next thing. It's the next scary thing. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I wasn't one of those people. I liked tattoos because they were a filter. They kept certain people from talking to me.
Oh, fascinating.
I just didn't want to be fucked with those kind of people.
Yeah.
And if I had that buffer, I knew I wasn't going to talk to a guy that was going to waste my time.
Right.
Yeah, I have a story where I worked at Napa and I hooked up with a guy. I say hooked up. We were talking and he wanted to take me out. I went out on a date with him. We went out to eat or something, whatever. We went back to my place. And as soon as I took my sweater off, he fucking left. He left.
He didn't know before that
He
that
didn't
you
know I
had,
was tattooed because my boss made me wear long sleeves.
and
I was wearing
you didn't
a sweater.
have these yet.
No, not up on my neck, but I had.
He left.
He left. Yeah.
Did he say?
No, and he never talked to me again.
He didn't.
But I also
announce his departure.
He said, "I have to go."
Okay.
But I also had an enormous amount of reptiles. So maybe he was scared of my reptiles.
The combo.
No.
The tattoo reptile lady.
Yeah, I went and I was like, Bob was the name of my boss. And I was like, Bob, he just like split. And he's like, what kind of man just leaves? And I was like, I don't know, man. He was scared. He's like, oh shit, he didn't know you had tattoos. And I was like, And he's like, oh.
Funny.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That was like 2001 maybe. So
have you seen any of the footage of this dude? I don't remember his name. It's this dude that was just in on trial for murdering a bunch of people, and I think he had a whole bunch of, and he just like sat there. He just like
He's just nutty.
super super troubling to look at. Like he
Yeah.
and there's all of these fucking bitches that like
Are in love with them or
yeah,
whatever.
and
Oh,
he's like he's murdered I don't know 30, however many people, and they're like still just like twinkle in their eye. And I mean I think they sentence him to death,
yeah.
and but he's so fucking troubling, and it's because of the expression in the courtroom where he's just like, I mean, there's something
Something
wrong
wrong
with
with
him,
him.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I picture that, and then I look, and here's Post Malone.
He
And
looks the same.
I,
I don't fucking understand that shit at all. So like
and
the
he's got a
softest
fucking,
dude, that shit's ridiculous. So like where do you draw? I understand. I'm 42. I'm 42 now. So like in terms of like I did my first tattoo on a human in 2010. So I've been tattooing a while. Okay. In other terms, I have friends that have been tattooing 25 or 30 years. So my 15 years is fucking nothing, right? But I have been through it to where you look stupid, kid. Get that shit off your face. I feel like the people that were like, pull up your pants. Like I can't stand it. I'm like, what the fuck made you do this? What is this?
and by the way, that's down here. Up here is the fucking juggalos.
Oh my god,
And
don't get me started.
there's so many of them that are documenting now going through the removal, and they fucking
The
sit there
clown
for,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, the one guy that was like crying, he's like, the ICP made me do this. And they're like making fun of him. ICP is making fun of him. They're like, yeah, we held you
They'll
down and
sit
did it.
there for 5 hours and get like this much.
I've had laser removal done.
Okay, and
It
and
hurts
they
way worse than the
they'll
tattoo.
post. They're like, I think it looks good. It's like it still
It
looks.
comes back. It comes back.
What?
It looks better, and then it comes back.
Well, this is right after.
Yeah,
And
so it looks
they're
white.
like
It looks
celebrating,
gone, right? Yeah, no,
but
it
it's
comes right
still
back.
there. It's not invisible all of a sudden.
I know.
And I'm like, bro, you know,
Yeah, I've had 3 or 4 sessions of laser done, and it is. Or do you eat meat?
yeah,
Have you ever cooked bacon naked?
no,
Can you imagine?
no. I've had
Getting-
bacon grease hit my wrist, and I'm like, ah.
That's what it feels like.
I don't want to hit.
But it's like, ow, 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 ow,
What?
ow, and then it's over.
3.
I had one session on one of the cartouches on my arm, which we covered up with just a big color piece later. So I had one session on that, and then I had one session where we did my neck, and maybe I only had 2 sessions. We did all the black on my chest and the one on my neck, and then I had that one done. So two sessions, 3 tattoos. It hurts like hell. It hurts a lot.
And you just didn't like what you had there anymore.
I just
so-
had it. It needed to be refreshed, and it just was like, I don't love it enough to fix it.
Okay.
So let's just knock it down to where we can cover it up with something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I have like a cat hair stuck on my
That's
nose.
okay. There's Kleenex over there if you
It's
need
not
some.
wet. It's just like a cat hair is like stuck somewhere. My
feel
cat has
ya.
like hair this long, like your dog up there.
Strangely, so she she and her 3 brothers were found in an abandoned house, and this person was fostering them, and my sister just like, we were looking for a dog, and they were all named after Star Wars characters, and
You have a Leia?
she's Leia.
Yeah.
She's Ellington now, but when we went to see them, it was Luke, Leia, Chewbacca, and Han Solo.
Okay.
And we were supposed to go, and the day of, the dude was like, they're all at the vet with parvo. It's really bad.
Oh, no.
And then couple days later, he's like, Luke didn't make it. And I was like, well, we still want to come see them when they're healthy. And I have had 2 boy dogs. One was still around and the delay for getting her was 2 years long because he just kept coming up with new flavors of cancer.
Oh my God.
Like we started we amputated a leg, and then we had a spleen removed, and some of his throat came out, and then he's finally got a clean bill of health. Okay, we can. And so I kind of was like, I kind of think I've loved my two boy dogs so much, but I kind of think, and we, the kids and I and one of the next door neighbor girls went, and it was like unanimous, like we want her.
Yeah.
So she just turned 3 at the end of November, and today, a friend who used to live here that now lives in Colorado sent me a screenshot of a Facebook post, and somebody in KCK was like, I just saw somebody like roll up and dump
A dog.
this dog, and we have two, and we can't. I took it, but we can't keep it. And I've called 7 places there, and then they're all full. Picture 1,000% one of her
Siblings.
brothers, and I was like, "Fuck!"
That's crazy.
If I had any help paying for dog food or wiping muddy paws, or I would no hesitate, but I just can't. But it's so she's a unique looking enough. She's like a Australian Shepherd. Anyway, I saw that picture. I was like, oh my god, that's
You're like, absolutely, it has to be.
yeah.
Yeah, that's I like female dogs and male cats.
Okay, interesting.
I've had many of both, but my last dog was a male dog, but I like female dogs, male cats.
Well, yeah. I wasn't allowed to have any growing up. So as soon as I'm out,
You're like, I'm getting a
boom,
dog.
and I named him after the pianist for Fish. And so when this second dog kind of came into my life, I was like, we're gonna keep that tradition. So I went with Medeski from Medeski, Martin and Wood, and then
Something about fish people.
what?
You're just very into it. I like it.
I mean, my kids are named after.
Really?
Yeah, that's you not knowing how many tattoos I've seen them 82 times. I could
That's
probably tell you mostly
they're your trains.
my trains.
I'm kidding.
No, you got to fill me in. What's that mean?
Oh, like when somebody's neurodivergent, they get obsessed with things, and sometimes it's trains.
Have you seen the English kid on Instagram that freaks the fuck out? That's what he goes to a spot where a train's going to be passing by, and he's like, the 1862 is about to, and then it comes, and so he's wearing a GoPro, but he's also filming his face. So sometimes the shot is like a distorted.
Oh my god!
And it'll come, and he'll be like, ah, ah, and he freaks out. And he's got so many followers.
They say that they're called foamers.
Like because they foam at the mouth.
Nah, I don't know. They're like obsessed with trains.
Oh,
If you go down to the West Bottoms at any given time, there's dudes, full grown men, taking pictures. Look at those fucking trains down there.
what?
Dude, it's so weird.
So when we all right, we're gonna find a dog. I gave the kids like 31. I was like, we're not stopping this train now. 31 last names of and they're like, this sucks. I hate this so much. And so we came up with a plan where it's everybody's out of this 30. Everybody's gonna make a top 3, and each person can protect a name, and
You can't veto this.
and you can make a cut on.
Oh my god!
And so it got down, and Ellington, the other, they were like still just mad, and I was like, if we go Ellington, you can call her Ellie, and they're like, yes, Ellie. So
yeah. Okay.
That's who's up
okay.
there.
Okay. Yeah. So, actually, I have a good story about. I'm pretty sure it's Fish. Is Fish there's groupies like Rainbow that follow them around? Or there used to be.
There's always been
In Grateful Dead.
Yes. Yeah. Rainbow. I don't know the Rainbow.
It was
part.
like a hippie commune.
Rainbow
kind of.
Gathering.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So when my mother had moved to St. Louis to live with my uncle, the music uncle, I was in foster care, and they granted me, I think it was a summer. I went there for 2 weeks. So I rode the Greyhound, and my foster parents are waiting in the train station with me, and they're like, don't sit next to that fucking guy. And it's a hippie, and he's got dreads, and he's wearing hemp necklace and tie-dye, and he's got 8 bags on him and whatever. And I'm looking around, and I was like, I'm definitely sitting next to that fucking guy. And I sit next to him, and he introduces himself as Tennessee. So he says his name is Tennessee, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I don't really say anything. And he's like, I guess there's a penguin or something, like a Grateful Dead song talks about a penguin named Tennessee. I don't know. I fucking no
There's
idea.
a song called Tennessee Jed.
Okay. So anyway, he's like hungry. He had been asking people for money at the train station. I was a kid. He didn't ask me for any money. We stop at Warrensburg or something, and there's a Subway attached to the Greyhound station. I go inside and I give him a fucking sandwich. And he opens this magical bag with like 40 different kinds of drugs in it.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, pick whatever you want. And I'm like, I'm sorry?
You're what age?
17.
So
Maybe.
you're not smoking.
No, I definitely had done like stuff
You
then.
hit that roach outside the hurricane.
I did not hit that roach, but so he
You lied to your mother.
No, I didn't smoke until later. He's like showing me this, and there's like peyote, and there's mushrooms, and there's acid, and there's all this stuff, and I'm like,
My mouth is watering.
I have heard. I figure since you're a fish person, you've probably experimented plenty.
Yeah.
So I had done lots of acid in school because I had a friend who was a dealer and he would give it to us and whatever. So I had always heard stories between him and my mother actually about window pane acid. Had never seen it. Had never. I don't know. And I see these little clear little bricks. And I'm like, what are those? And he's like, oh, it's window pane. And I'm like, that's cool. Can I have one of those? And he's like, oh, I'll give you 4 of them. And I was like, okay, whatever. So he gave me 4. And he's like, don't take all 4 of them.
That's why I just got bug eyes. I was like, please tell me.
He's like, take half of one and do not take it on this bus. You wait until you're somewhere safe. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you're experienced. You'll be fine. Da 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 da. And I'm like, cool, whatever. He's like, store it in the freezer. I'm like, okay. So I get there. My mom finds out. She catches me taping it to the inside of the freezer. And she's like, we're selling 2 of these to my friends and we're doing this together. You're not doing it.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So I tripped acid with my mother when I was 17.
For your first time?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Was it fun?
I actually did have a good time. Yeah.
Did you just stay home?
Yeah, we just stayed at my uncle's house, and then we saved him half, and he got really upset that I was doing acid with my mother, which is the voice of reason. We shouldn't have done acid together.
Cool story, though.
It was a cool story. Yeah, and so we still giggle.
Who told you not to sit next to him?
My foster father. Yeah, which he's such a nice guy. He's a fucking gem of a human, but it was super funny. But if I text my mom right now, like, you need to call into work, I have to take out the trash, she would fucking laugh her ass off because...
Is that a thing you guys...
She called in for work because my uncle had thrown his half hit in the trash and we emptied the trash can out trying to find it. It was fucking ridiculous.
Wow.
Anyway, I haven't done any of that shit in years and years and years and years. And
yeah, I turned 50 yesterday. So
happy birthday.
Thanks. But I mean... I've had somebody sit here who was like, I didn't know until they showed up, but they're all about mushrooms and microdosing and like, I'm like, dude, I did.
I don't micro anything. Micro needle my old ass face.
Yeah. I mean, but like both my psilocybin and my LSD journeys were like, each time one would kick in, they'd be like, you got about 17 of these left.
Yeah.
And then the next time I would feel more of that. And then all of a sudden one day it's like the fun side of the scale I'm maintenance and problems and sanity and just got to get through this, you know? And then that's it. That's all I had. I can't. This body will be like,
yeah, you're
no.
done now. Yeah. No, I had, I think the very last time that I ever did like mushrooms, I did them with a boyfriend or whatever, and they were watching. Like, I'm not allowed to go outside. I couldn't go outside and trip. I would fucking lose my mind. Ticks.
That's all
ticks everywhere.
I did.
I'm like, no.
Initially.
Oh, I did too. But
camping with friends.
Yes. 4th of July, 15 years old. Maybe 14 because I hadn't run away yet. No, I was probably 15, but it was probably 4th of July after I turned 15. But we went out to somebody's property, somebody's fucking uncle or something like that, and we're like shooting Roman candles and there's fucking cows in the field. And I like wake up in the back of the Escort hatchback with a chicken. And I was like, where did this chicken come from? Oh yeah, it was great. I remember a moment in time where there were burrs, the stick burrs on me, and I was freaking out. I was like, ah, they're all over me. And they're like, no. And they had like,
You guys go on without me.
yeah, they had like duct tape and they were like pulling them off of
Nice.
me. But they were like, no, 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 they're not bugs. They're not bugs. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. But yeah, I like walk in the house with a chicken in the morning and they're like, it's like a camper. We're in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, you're holding one of the chickens? And I was like, yeah, I don't know, where did this go? Like, it was in the escort. And they were like, we don't hold those. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. It was a good time. But yeah.
There's a bunch of TikToks going around where somebody asks the same joke over and over again. And it's why are...
Oh, God.
Do you know this already?
No.
Why are chickens so funny?
Oh, God. Get the fuck out of here. You're an embarrassment to
Sorry.
leave.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter would agree. That's awesome. So, yeah, but camping at shows, or if I'm, we're all going to hang out in the basement of House X, but we're all on the same... And then you kind of move beyond the ability to do that anymore and meet people that are like going out.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like
Raves
eating
and stuff.
or to like bars.
No.
I'm like,
no.
are you out of
I
your
could never.
goddamn
I would get
mind?
lost.
Just interacting with sober people,
No.
different, that have no idea. Anyway.
No, I turned into a cat the last time I was on mushrooms. I had a big puffy blanket around me and made biscuits for hours. I woke up the next day. I was like, God damn, my hands hurt.
Arthritis.
I was like, why? I'm like, yeah. So that's just, I just like you said, there's a number. You can't, you just can't anymore.
Don't get me wrong. I'm nostalgic for those times.
I had some very good times.
But.
So my husband's straight edge.
Okay.
Never.
Nothing.
He's never smoked. He's never drank.
Can one be straight edge with having a past of?
To me, that's just sober.
Okay.
There are people that claim straight edge.
Now, are there also people that claim straight edge when it comes to sex?
So straight edge is 3. So no drugs, no alcohol, no promiscuous sex.
Okay.
There's 3 X's.
Promiscuous means just for the pleasure of it.
Yes, yes. So if you were, I think it's a Minor Threat song, and my husband will fucking kill me if I'm wrong, but it says, don't drink, don't smoke, don't fuck. Mm-hmm. And then whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically the 3 X's that are straight edge. But, so he doesn't do any of that stuff. So like I joked with him that
no drugs, no alcohol?
Mm-mm. He doesn't do anything.
He's never had alcohol?
Mm-mm. No, never.
And like, if you're a couple of mezcals into the evening and you give me a smooch, he has no qualms.
No, but he likes 2 drink Amber. He doesn't like 4 drink Amber.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Amber gets a little feisty.
Okay.
But I really don't like. He was good for me. I really got through like my 20s and stuff. Live music every night, like going to metal shows.
Damn.
Like I was
every night.
Oh yeah,
it's an expensive habit.
I mean, and you're a chick, you don't pay for a lot of stuff. Dudes just get you into stuff.
Yeah.
But like even drinking, you want to go drink, just dudes buy you drinks. So like yes, I definitely spent money that I shouldn't have spent like going out. But yeah, I think I moved back from California when I was like 22. And then just raged like a little turd for 5 years, just crazy. I'd like close Buzzard Beach every night. I lived on Mission Road.
Buzzard Beach is now closed.
Somehow, yeah, please move to the exit. I'd like somehow get home, have to be changed out into uniform at 7 a.m. to work. And my rule was if you cannot be asleep by 3:30, don't go to sleep. And so I'd just go to work.
Fuck.
Yeah, I was a wreck. So I was just very angsty, fight people at bars. I was just gnarly. And then like...
Fight?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But it was just like that's the thing that's so crazy about who I am now. Like I just had to let all that shit go.
Wow.
I was so fucked up over unspoken things from like childhood and stuff. I just never dealt with it. I tried going to therapy. When they put you in foster care, they kind of make you.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just obsessed with the fact that I needed to be molested. Oh, you were molested. No, nobody molested me. My parents just didn't pay attention to me. Like, I took care of my little sister. I didn't fucking eat, whatever. Like, I was neglected. I wasn't molested, you idiots.
They really wanted you to say that you were?
Yes. A lot of male therapists were, like, obsessed with the notion that there's no other reason that you would run away from home.
There's plenty of reasons.
Lots of reasons, yeah. So it was a huge thing for me that I gained, like, a very unhealthy, like, I just didn't trust therapists at all. So, like, I know plenty of therapists now, and they're wonderful. It's just not for me.
It's fair.
My doctor now, she does psychotherapy as well, and she was just like, you're fucking too self-aware. You won't
What about this ketamine DMT therapy? Ayahuasca?
I'm doing pretty good. Oh, that's what I was talking about with my husband. I was like, hey, we're going to get married on our honeymoon. We're going on a spirit journey. And he was like, no, I'm not. I was like, come on, honey. He's like, no. I was like, all right, that's fine. But yeah, I haven't even smoked pot since like 2008.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I drank still. Like,
The appeal of something like ayahuasca has never tickled your fancy?
oh, sure. Like one of the lady that I see for my myofascial release, she would facilitate something like that if I wanted to.
Your what?
My myofascial release, the scar tearing that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah. I was like, why does that sound familiar?
She's actually a shaman, which is
Interesting.
pretty sick. That's cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, she was like, oh yeah, I could facilitate something like that. I'm like, ooh, nah.
Right.
I don't need it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that stuff is like super valuable. And I appreciate that like marijuana's legal now and people can use that for medication and stuff. But I don't appreciate that everybody drives like assholes because they're too busy smoking weed in their car. I hate it.
Do you visibly see this?
All the time, don't you?
No. I smell
it all the time, too.
everywhere.
It's obnoxious to me, especially being like a motorcycle rider. It is so much more dangerous now.
I mean,
they're just not paying attention. They're
Yeah.
so busy or already high or whatever, It's not that everybody wasn't driving high before, but now they're actively in their cars doing it. I'm like, fuck.
Exactly.
But yeah, just like my 20s were like metal shows all the time, like touring bands in Lawrence and like downtown Westport, whatever. You make friends with people that are in bands. You date people that are in bands. We would go to all that stuff. I was like really into super aggressive stuff until I had just calmed down a little bit. And then I was like, oh yeah, I guess I can like, Chelsea Wolfe is like kind of moody girl metal stuff, or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can listen to somebody sing and not scream at me anymore.
Nice.
Don't get me wrong, I still love that shit. But.
Well, again, I really appreciate you being here and sharing two cool lists with me. How did I? There we are.
Like it's in here somewhere.
So, you gave me an all-time faves list and then a modern brain ticklers phase. So I want to run through both of them.
Okay.
We'll do all-time faves first, and we'll do both just in chronological release order, if that's okay.
Sure.
So, if we do that, we start with Ministry.
Yeah. I almost wore that shirt today.
With Sympathy, 1983, first of 16 for them, 9 tracks, 37 minutes, industrial metal out of Chicago. I do love me some firsts here on the show, 156 episodes in, no Ministry records to this point. I mean, 0 Ministry experiences.
So you've never listened?
Not at all.
Okay.
And if I heard it by happenstance, I wouldn't have known.
Sure. And none of their other records sound like this either.
Interesting.
This is the only record that sounds like this.
So I'm still surprised at how much I enjoyed this. Because I don't know why, but I had them 9 Inch Nails adjacent,
Yes.
but times 10 on the aggressive spectrum.
Yeah, Al Jorgensen is We
Okay.
call him Uncle Al now. He's got like 700 piercings, and he really he went there. So there's one other record after this. I think it's called Twitch, that is kind of line stepping into what it was about to go into, and then it immediately goes into like the political, aggressive, industrial stuff, and I love that stuff. But this record has always been like, if you like Depeche Mode, if you like that kind of like more,
Which
this
I
is
don't.
you don't like Depeche
I
Mode.
don't dislike it, but I'm always
It's not your jam.
I always I'm like, I know this goes over here with these folks.
Okay, okay.
And no judgment, I get it.
No,
But it's just
it's
not what
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna go to it.
So this was his appeal at, we can write a studio album that is massively appealing, but it's still kind of dark. And that's this record is like very synthesizer driven, kind of the like Berkey robotic kind of vocals, but it's just so dancey. You cannot not, you have to
Well,
dance
and
to it.
so if something out of the gate surprises me like that, like opening track or two tracks, I'm where my brain goes is like probably after a handful of good tracks, it'll drop off and it'll be less impressive. I mean, all the way through, I was like, God damn, man, this is really good.
Yeah, I want to say, I think Here We Go might be my, Here We Go might be my least favorite song on the record. But like Effigy and like I Wanted to Tell Her, forget it, man. They're so good.
So, how did they wind up in your life?
Ministry
Yeah.
through Nine Inch Nails.
Okay.
Yeah. So this record in particular, I want to say I didn't find until years after I was listening to Ministry. I think the first Ministry record I listened to was like what is it, Psalm 69 or
Yeah,
something like that.
I did know that. I did know that.
So I think that was the first record that I ever got of theirs, like CD. I say record, CD. The first CD I ever got of theirs was that one.
Record
And
is synonymous with release.
Okay.
Or album in my mind.
So like I was like, this is fucking excellent. I love it. I think Jesus Built My Hot Rods on it, whatever. It's like very guitar driven, whatever. And I don't remember what I was doing. And somebody was like, listen to this one. Doesn't even fucking sound like him. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And just kind of stored it away later. And then I listened to it here and there if it would pop up, but I didn't own it. And then my husband and I got together, and he is a record nut. Like that's what he hoards is records.
Vinyl.
Yes.
Like hundreds, thousands. Damn.
Yeah.
A whole room in the house.
A whole, yeah, it's on a supporting wall in our home. Yeah. He's obsessed with it. So, he was shopping for records, I think, and I was like, or maybe I was buying him a record or something, and I was like, holy shit, they have this Ministry record. And I bought it, and he was like, what is this? Like, I think he had said he had never heard it. And he was like, holy fuck, this is so good. And I think I maybe I had Twitch first, but either way, I was like, this shit is so good. And he wasn't into like industrial and stuff, but he is into like pop.
Okay.
Like in the true sense of the world, not like Madonna, but it's just an excellent record, and anybody that I've ever been like, hey, listen to this, or like, fuck, this is so good.
Yeah.
They're like, this is Ministry. I'm like, I know. Did you look at pictures of him circa this? He's like flock of seagulls, fucking
No
hair.
shit.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I mean, it is, what is 83? Do we see?
Yeah, I think so. Or 81, something like that. It's old.
Well, I was just blown away. Like, and when somebody first sends a list, like, it's also a mix of things. Like, sometimes you'll see an artist name that you recognize. Sometimes all of it's so foreign. It's like, I don't know which one's the album title and which one's the artist. I'll have to figure that out when the time comes. Sometimes you'll see something and be like, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to sit through whatever. But I saw Ministry. I saw Nine Inch Nails. Like, okay, I have a beat on the pulse. Started off with this. I was like,
Oh. This is not what I thought it was going to be.
I feel like I need to hit save and like leave the room and Control Alt Delete, come back in
With a blank slate.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you're like, this must be a different band, actually. Yeah, no, I get it for sure.
Well, we would then leap 6 years forward to the aforementioned Pretty Hate Machine. Another first 14, I think, 11 tracks, 49 minutes. We stay in industrial, but we shift from Chicago to Cleveland. Again, if my spreadsheet was
Correct.
full, if it was updated, I've had a fair amount of Nine Inch Nails records make lists.
Yeah, probably the token.
I feel like it's 2 or 3 of them that have appeared a few times.
Probably Downward Spiral.
1,000%, and there's another one, Broken. And I thought maybe
Broken's Halo 6, I think.
I thought this one had made a list, but in trying to like find the album art, I couldn't. And then also when I listened to it, I was like, I haven't listened to this before, so I think this is also a first. So I now know you're a big Nine Inch Nails fan. They were in the early days. They were a huge piece for you.
It was a good outlet for me.
What about the whole collection? I mean, they put out a pair of records in 2020, I want to say. Do you know?
There is a live record. I've listened to some of them. I think one of the newer albums is called Witch.
Okay.
I like 1 or 2 songs off of it. Trent Reznor as a musician, he's fucking fantastic. He has like written stuff like Doom soundtracks and stuff like that, and he does a lot of stuff with goddamn. Of course, everybody in the world knows that guy's name, and I don't. There's some other guy that goes by like a name, and they write shit together all the time. I can't remember his name, but he does like soundtracks, really moody stuff, and then he got married to a woman named Mara Queen or something like that, and her thing, I think the album or the band's called How to Destroy Angels.
Interesting.
And he writes a lot of that music, and she sings on
Okay.
it. But they have a live, or Trent has a live record. I think it's called like And All That Could Have Been or something like that.
Good
Top
stuff.
tier recording. The
Put
album
out
tracks.
when ish.
Maybe, I don't know, 06 to 2015.
Okay.
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Somewhere in there. But the recording is just top tier, and the tracks that he puts in it are fucking excellent. So it revisits a lot of stuff. Yeah, so this is probably like Halo 1, and then you got like samples and sides and remixes, and they have one called Demos and Remixes that was only released in England, I think, and I had that, and he covers Supernaut. I think it's a Black Sabbath song originally, but it was actually Nine Inch Nails. It wasn't Nine Inch Nails or Trent Reznor. It was kind of like a super group. I think it's called 10,000 Homo DJs. And it's like...
What a name.
It's like him and... I'm going to fuck it up, but I think it might be him and like Al Jurgensen and somebody else.
Okay.
And I think they call it... Yeah, I think it's called Supernaut.
Interesting.
And it's... Dun, 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 dun. It's just so fucking good. But anyway, so like Downward Spiral came out, and that's really where they started to get popular because there was MTV videos and stuff. So the video for Closer that everybody knows, where he's spinning around on the chair and whatever, that's really where he got like famous. And then years later, I think he released many albums after that, but not as many. And then I feel like maybe in 2000 he released I think it's called Fragile or The Fragile.
Yeah, I
That
think
one's
so.
good, too.
Okay. That one might have made a list.
It's
now
pretty
that I think
good.
about it.
It's not. I love it, but it's not. My favorite.
But this was a suggestion.
I think one of my cousins.
Oh yeah.
One of my cousins from Chicago was like, yeah, listen to this, and I liked. Maybe they were wearing a shirt or something, and I was like, oh, that thing's cool. But yeah, I was like, yeah, okay. I think I found my special purpose. It just did it for me. It just tickled my brain in the right way.
Do you know that quote? Do you know the jerk? Steve Martin.
Oh my God. This cup. This is all I need.
I found my special purpose.
Somebody really hates these cans. Fuck. So fun.
From there we go 5 years to Dummy. Portishead, another first of three, 11 tracks, 49 minutes. We go across the pond, as it were, for some English rock. Shouts out to Josh King of Low Forest from episode 132, who had Roseland, New York City live on his list, which is obviously not a studio album, but fascinating to me that the debut effort of a band that made only 3 records is a special one for you. How did this one land in your lap?
We went to on Rainbow, actually, down the street from the tattoo shop. There used to be, I think it was a CD warehouse across from KU Med. That building is still there, and I think KU Med bought it. But it used to be a CD warehouse, and we went there one day because one of our friends had told us that they were not magnetizing the CDs so we could steal from there. I would never do that. But we went and we ended up with this Coil Love Secret Domain. If you've never heard it, it is very bizarre.
Okay.
One of the songs features a didgeridoo.
Nice.
It's actually a good record.
Yeah.
You should give it a spin.
Coil,
I think it's called Love Secret Domain. And then we got an Einsterde Neubauten, it's a German
Steve
noise band.
Tulipana
Is he like them?
had one of their
That doesn't
records
surprise me.
on his
Steve
list.
has pretty good taste in that shit. Yeah.
Love Secret
Domain. Yeah. And they actually have a song called Window Pane that is excellent on it. But anyway, we didn't know what this was. We just got it because the cover was interesting.
Appealing. Yeah.
So we were like, yeah, okay, yoink. And Mysterions came on, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I don't even like chick singers. And they were like, well, we're listening to it, whatever. And so we listened to it, and it was, it just blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is really good, actually. So it turned into one of the things. We didn't listen to it in the car anymore, but it came home with me, and I would listen to it in the with the headphones.
Oh, yeah.
And that was kind of, again, that's like, I really would get into the shit listening to all the layers of stuff with the headphones on. Yeah.
I mean, the way it was meant to be. I mean,
yeah, I think so. Especially like Pretty Hate Machine was one of the first records that probably ever did that to me, where I was like, oh my God, there's so much shit you can't hear when you're just in a room, you know? But I always found Beth's voice really appealing. Like I said, I was never drawn to female singers.
right.
So I was very much like, I don't love this. And then I was like, no, I do. I like all the other stuff. I like the big horns or samples that were going on. And then it would come back with her like quiet little voice. So going back to you said you had somebody else that pulled the live record or whatever. I find her almost painful to watch perform. She has so much performance anxiety that she will not look. She chain smokes the whole time.
Really?
She'll turn her back to the crowd.
Oh, wow.
So I like very much, I get anxious for people.
Same.
Karaoke or what's that show where people sing, make
The
asses
Voice.
of them? I can't, the one before that, American Idol.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
It hurts me. It pains me to watch it. Watching her perform is very much like a person. She's like she doesn't want to be watched.
Oh, wow.
So like
wrong profession, sister.
To hear that voice come out of her and know what she looks like is
What the fuck has she been up to? Do we know?
I want to say there's some project that she was just working on.
Oh, really?
With somebody, but I don't remember who. She was supposed to do a side project with somebody years and years ago, and they ended up remixing some of her songs, but she didn't ever do it. Maybe Danger Mouse or something. Which honestly, that record almost made it. That Rome. If you ever listened to that.
I think I have.
It's like Western kind of theme. That's fucking excellent.
Okay.
But she was supposed to do something with him, I think, and I was like, God, just do it.
Right.
Never did it. Or maybe Tricky. They did a couple things. With
Yeah,
Tricky,
I think so.
But yeah, it's just like the stuff like Sour Times is, of course, like kind of the hit off of this, or Nobody Loves Me, whatever. But like some of the bigger songs ended up on like Tank Girl. the Tank Girl soundtrack.
Mm-mm.
It's a movie
No.
with Lori Petty.
Okay.
It's like a post-apocalyptic. It's fucking rad.
I bet.
But anyway, a couple of the songs ended up on there, and I was just like, God damn, it's a good band. So like
Yeah.
the three of these in common so far have me as a teenager kind of discovering that there's stuff that's still in the same vein, but not the same.
Yep. Yep. To 98 with
Mezzanine.
Mezzanine, Massive Attack, 35, 11 tracks, 63 minutes. Stay in England, but shift to trip hop. This one was something of a kind of quietly, a little bit, a game changer. Like Massive Attack has never been like ginormously huge that I'm aware of, but lots of folks know of them nonetheless. And oftentimes this is the album that they're
Maybe
most...
they just know Teardrop. You know, Teardrop or Angel were both big hits.
Okay.
Teardrop, I think, was the fucking opening song for House for like years. That show about the doctor. Never seen it.
Mm-mm.
It's some doctor that's addicted to opiates that is like super good at diagnosing people. Whatever.
Huh.
Anyway, the opening song is Teardrop.
Okay.
So that kind of made it.
There you
pop.
go.
But,
Okay.
So I've loved this record since the first time I heard it. The first time I heard it, I was like, what the fuck is this hip hop doing with this? Okay, all right, I actually do kind of like this.
And how'd you wind up listening to it?
I think it was probably something that popped up. Do you remember? Oh, of course you remember. You go into record stores and they would have a shelf. If you like this, listen to this.
Yep.
John likes these 3 albums. And you're like, all right, John, what the fuck do you know? Or you'd go in and you'd be like, I'm going to buy this Nine Inch Nails record. And he's like, have you heard Massive Attack? I'm like, no. It was probably one of those things. So 1998, I was in foster care. So I was in Wyandotte County. I was going to FL Schlegel, which is a gnarly fucking school to go to from Shawnee Mission North. That's a huge change. So I was very much, everybody listened to hip hop. And I was like, I'm not listening to hip hop. So this was one of those things. I was like, no, it has like rapping and stuff on it. It doesn't really. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a couple tracks where there's a little bit of like a hip hop kind of like a lo-fi, I don't want to say jazz, but like kind of that lo-fi, like poetic kind of stuff. And I was a little hesitant to it at first. And then I was like, this is very much a record that has to be listened to in order. If you listen to this record out of order, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Huh.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm an album person.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like tracks. But when I like a record, I will literally say, Teddy, play Mezzanine for me, turn shuffle off. Because I want to listen to it front to back. I'm the same.
Teddy?
She's the front girl at the shop.
Oh, gotcha.
But like Dummy, I don't care. I'll listen to it on shuffle. Pretty Hate Machine, it needs to be in order. I'm gonna sing the songs in my head. I like to know what's next. I know, I'm gonna get excited about minute 3 and 22 seconds. You know, whatever. But like I remember listening to this record. I had like a 77 Monte Carlo that I was driving, and I had, I wanted speakers for Christmas. My foster parents put speakers in it, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, I'm going to listen to this shit in the car. And I'm like listening to, I think Orgy had come out the same year. I don't remember the name of the record. It's a red one, just an O on the front of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like an industrial. It has the cover of Blue Monday on it.
Okay.
But I would like listen to this, and I'd have like a couple of the kids that were from there get in the car, and they'd be like, what is this? I'm like, Massive Attack. It's pretty good. It's not like that metal shit that you like. Like, cool. Yeah. But my husband and I were driving home from Tucson last year, and he had never heard it.
Really?
He was very, no, he doesn't like any stuff like this. He's very into like punk and rock and whatever. And I put this on, and we listened to it. And as we were pulling in, the final song like finished as I was pulling in the driveway, and he goes, that was really fucking good.
He didn't say anything across the whole album?
We listened to, I mean, it was like, it must have been from the Turnpike that we listened to it, but he was like, that was really good. No, he just sat and listened to it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is new for him. He's like, I fucking hate this. He hates everything.
Sure. I mean,
no, I get it. He's got really good music taste. I'm not picking him apart, but we disagree on some things.
If you are, if you've got a portion of you that lives in the world of punk and rock, and you don't have a little bit of that attitude, that you can get dissed.
Right.
Like,
Right.
where's your,
Yeah.
where's your fuck the,
Yeah. Right.
I
You
hate
don't know what the fuck you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
You just like everything.
yeah.
Ew. Yeah. But he was like, yeah, okay, I'm on board. It's pretty sick. Like,
Nice.
cool, cool. So it's now something that we can listen to
Fun.
together. Yeah.
Well, from there we moved to the modern brain ticklers list, and I 2015 services by Tempers, 11 tracks, 44-ish minutes, first of 6 releases visible on their Bandcamp. I don't know what's a
Yeah, who
single
knows?
and what's an EP and what's a remix or a reissue, but singer-songwriter Jasmine Golstana. Out of New York, low-lit poetic synth pop with hints of techno, shoegaze, and post-punk. Tell me about Tempers and Services, please.
The first time I heard Tempers, I was on the turnpike driving to, I think, Valley Falls for some reason, and it came on in a radio on Spotify. And I was like, this is like if your Rhythmix was like modern, but
So
like,
you're Bluetoothing through your phone,
yeah,
and
in my
the
car.
algorithm fed it to you.
And I,
This was
I,
like
I
your
think it was strange.
Rhythmix.
It was Strange Harvest
Okay.
was the song that came on, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Moody, Eurythmics, but it's like better. What the fuck is this? And so then I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to save that song. And then since I had saved the song, a month later or something, it fed me another song. And I was like, this is that same fucking band. I know it's that same band. So I went and found the album and I was like, holy shit, this whole album's a banger. Like the whole thing is good. So then when I find something and I've like vetted it, I'll send it to my husband and I'm like, check this out. And he's like, what is this? And I'm like, they have a couple albums, like whatever. But this is another thing I like to listen to the whole thing.
I mean,
back
I
to
think
back.
if you pull individual tracks out of it, it would be
Strange Harvest is pretty good on its own.
okay.
But like it's like Eyes Wide Wider. Like it
Yeah.
really is kind of a segue into
Great title too.
It is good. It is good. There's some definitely like some tongue in cheek stuff in a lot of these, but it's good. It's just like all across. I was like, it has all the elements that I like. It has a really good. She's a talented vocalist. I was like, I'm into it. But it's one of those things like I found it, and ever since I found it, it's been a repeat. It's in several of my playlists, and people always ask if I'm tattooing and it pops up. People are like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "It's a band called Tempers. Like, check them out."
Well, again, so I see the 2 list. I see the modern, and I'm like, what is all? I don't know what any of that is. And then the second I'm on this page and have hit play, I'm like, oh, this is the picture I had sculpted based on the first list. Like, oh yeah, this fits, and then oh yeah, this fits, and but where's she fucking finding this? Like. Anyway, so Wuthering Drum, Public Memory, 2016, first of 11, 10 tracks, 38-ish minutes. Robert Torr's project
Yeah, just
of
one dude.
dub, krautrock, and trip hop. Fascinating find. How did it find you?
I think the reason that I said Ringleader the first time is because Ringleader popped up.
Okay.
So Ringleader popped up in radio. So I am really stingy with my likes on Spotify. I
Okay.
won't just like songs.
Okay.
I'm very like particular, and then I'll make radios based on the liked songs,
Huh.
and I'll get fucking insane
I
new
bet.
shit. But so this popped up, and the first time, I think it's Ringleader starts out and it's like church bells almost, or like some, my kid plays percussion. So it's like those big stand up, whatever. And my brain is like, wind chimes in a fucking song? Why are there wind chimes in this? But like as soon as that song was done, I was like, so I went in, and then I think Mirror was the next one that I heard, and I was like, God damn, dude, what is going on with this? It's like, this has to be one guy. You can tell something about one person projects. There's no clashing of like what song is going to be in what order. There's no clashing of like this needs a bass solo. There's none of that crap. There's like one guy had a little mixer in his basement and was like, I'm going to write all these goddamn songs and then I'll write lyrics later. Public Memory is one of those bands I feel like he almost sings and then writes music to it. Like it feels very vocal driven to me instead of the other way around. But this is another band that I was like, Ricky, check this out. He's like, that's stupid good. What the fuck? He has another release, I think, after this that has two very good songs on it, but just this album is just incredible. But again, at the shop, if this is playing, like the other people at the shop are putting in their playlist. Or I've got clients asking what it is.
Wow.
They're like, how do you find this stuff? I'm like,
Okay.
I'm just really
I wasn't
stingy.
alone.
I'm just really stingy about what I will get into. It's kind of like a TikTok, you know, if you like everything, if you like one feel good show or reel, you're going to get nothing but saving puppies. So you have to be like, oh wait, but this one about day drinking is really funny. But do I want my whole feed to be day drinking? Like I got to be careful there.
Yeah.
So that's how I am when I like curate like a Spotify playlist or something like that. I really would love to be like, oh yeah, I discovered these guys when I was in New York in 2018. But like it was just an accident. And then I just dig deeper. I definitely would not have found Public Memory if I didn't find Tempers first.
I wondered. Okay.
Not that they have a lot of similarities, but
Right. But like a sort of a third cousin twice removed.
it just
kinda,
and like a lot of the stuff, I mean, fuck, I could have made you a list this long. But I was like, I'm going to give you a list that is like kind of more focused on a specific kind of music. You don't get these bands without this.
Right.
You don't get it.
Right.
You can't.
No.
So when I was like, I'm going to give you some heavy hitters that I will listen to for the rest of my life, and I'll give you the stuff that I found because of those.
Right. Shouts out to Uncle Al.
Yeah, Uncle Al did it for me. He's fucking weirdo.
Okay, so this seemed. By the way, TikTok is apparently going away on January 19th.
Yeah, they said they were. They have their appealing or something,
Right.
but whatever.
So one friend told me, and then today I saw. I guess maybe the leading candidate for its replacement is called Lemon 8. I don't know. We'll fucking see. I think it's a shame. I think it's a great platform. It has the smartest algorithm. You do have to be careful unless you just want fucking day drinking.
Yeah.
But there's so many good creators on there, and there are those that will participate and those that are like, I'm not putting that Chinese propaganda on my phone. It's like, what?
Yeah. It's just
What do you mean? Like,
the thing that I find. I don't spend a lot of time on TikTok, but the thing that I find appealing about TikTok is it reminds me of Vine. Like I love Vine so much. And so it's kind of like I liked Instagram better than Facebook because you didn't have to interact with people. And then TikTok, which I have a few videos on there. I have like one that I made about a tattoo that is the dumbest thing ever and it went viral.
of course.
It's so dumb. I tattooed like one of my friends, Peyton, got a silhouette of his beautiful wife nude in the shower, and I traced her body and basically tattooed it, but like made it like it was taped to his skin. So it's just like the shape of her body. And she has a very prominent booty. And people I was like, stop getting stupid tattoos that don't mean anything. And I like wipe it, and it's just like a fucking ass. And people were like, it went crazy.
Wow.
Like in an hour, it was just like bam, 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 bam. I was like, oh my God, what is happening? And my friend was like cracking up about it. I was like, what? But people were like, asses aren't square. Asses don't look like that, whatever. And then there was all these women that are like, how did you get a picture of me in the shower? So it was like, it was really fun. And I was expecting to just get absolutely roasted because that's what happens. but it was actually enormously like positive.
That's funny.
So once in a while, people are like, "You probably don't mess with TikTok." I was like, "You want to see my one TikTok that made it?" It's so dumb.
That's awesome.
It's really idiotic.
So to 2020, I'm waving, not drowning, and is it Matt
Matte Black.
Okay, that seems to be a kind of a thing where people are sticking V's in place of A's and E's, and
So it doesn't surprise me at all because when I got really into like metal, black metal, like they would call it uber grim, they would replace V's over like A's and
okay,
stuff
all
like
right.
that. So like that stuff's not new to me. So it makes me wonder. Like this has Matte Black just normal on the thing, but all in his other stuff, it is just
If
the
there are
upside
places where I was finding both, and I was like, God damn it, which one's the right one?
down. Yeah.
But
So
this is, gosh, 7 of 24 that are visible, 8 tracks, 37-ish minutes, 3-piece electronica out of San Diego. That has some dance, industrial, and techno-y vibes. What's the story here?
if you don't like Depeche Mode, don't listen to this
Okay.
band. I think he covers 2 Depeche Mode songs on this record, but Monumental and Pure. I think there were the 2 tracks. I think Monumental was the first one that I heard. I spent about a week listening to. I was like brushing up on Depeche Mode. I'm just gonna listen to every Depeche Mode record, and when the end of like maybe the 5th album, I hadn't queued up another album. Monumental came on, and I was like, whoever this is really likes Nine Inch Nails because it starts out and it's just an electronic drum. And it just like immediately goes into it sounds like Down in It from, I was like, oh my God, this person loves Nine Inch Nails. What a fucking ripoff. I was at the gym and it came on and I was like, the synth comes in and I was like, whoa, okay, maybe this doesn't suck. So then I go in and I'm like, who is this? And I'm like, Matt Black. All right, whatever. I get into it and I'm like, all right, I have time. This album's not very long. I'm gonna listen to the whole record. I was like, oh, they cover Stripped. I'm fucking skipping it. And then it gets into I think Panic Room. That's not the title Depeche Mode uses, but it is I'm pretty sure it's a Depeche Mode song. And then Panic Room was like an alternate title name or something. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. Like it was one of those songs I heard and I was like, I know the words to this. It has to be a cover. I haven't researched it, but I'm pretty sure it is. Because I was like, this is either called this or Panic Room, and it is called Panic Room, so I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway, so I go back. I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to go back to the beginning. I'm going to listen to this Western Fold song. So that comes on, and I'm like, this whole fucking record's awesome.
Nice.
Like, I wanted to hate this. Because every time somebody tries to cover, like, how are you going to cover Stripped? Like, it's a, like, okay, you don't like Depeche Mode, it's not your thing. Everybody knows that goddamn song. So I was like, how are you going to cover that? And I was like, fuck, this is actually really good. But I probably put this in a rotation maybe 2 months ago at the shop, and now the day doesn't go by that it doesn't come on probably now.
Really?
Yeah. But it's just like somebody's like, what's that song with the beep? And I'm like, yeah, it's Matt Black put on that record with the skull on it. So, but it's just like there's little earworms in all of these. Like that's something like synth is never going to go away from my life. I love it. Like I'm not going to say I don't have a musical bone in my body. I cannot really play music, but anytime I find an opportunity to buy a really good priced synthesizer, I'm like, husband, here is a Moog that I got for a really good price. Husband, here is a Behringer that I got for a really good price. And he's like, where do you come up with this shit? I was like, I don't know. I just see him sometimes and you need him. So he like takes him to the studio and like helps with his recording and stuff with him. Or writes stuff
you never
at him.
fiddle around with them?
Yeah, I fiddle around.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I can kind of sit down and find stuff pretty easily just by ear.
Yeah.
There's a song, I think Hearing Damage by Tom York.
Okay.
Great song, but it's very boom 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 boom. And I was like, yeah, I got it. Like 3 minutes. I was like, yeah, cool.
Nice.
Hey, check this out. And he's like, is that Tom York? I was like, yeah.
See,
But
you do have a
it's in
musical bone.
there, but I just don't have the time to nurture that. Art takes up all of that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And not that this isn't an extension, like this is basically like a soundtrack to create for people. So when I can expose people to music that is probably better than what they're listening to in their car, I live for that shit. And somebody's like,
Now,
well,
you, one of our points of communication, I don't know if it was when we were on email and maybe you said, text me because somebody at the shop might see the email before I do.
mm-hmm.
Did we ever talk about, is it a relatively democratic thing as far as who gets to play tunes in the shop, or?
Oh, much like your system for naming your dog. There are things that are not listened to in the shop. I will not permit them to be listened to in the shop. I fucking hate AC/DC.
Oh, that's too bad.
I hate them. There is some. Is it Bon Scott?
Mm-hmm.
I can tolerate a couple Bon Scott
Okay,
songs.
that's fair.
But I do not like.
Brian Johnson. That's fair.
I hate it.
Even all the way back to Back in Black.
I mean, maybe there's a couple songs here and there that I could hear that wouldn't drive me crazy, but like being a mechanic for so long,
Oh my God.
they fucking play that shit
Yeah.
twice an hour on
Yeah.
98.9 The Rock.
Yeah.
Like it just made it to where it's unpalatable to
Yep.
me. It is like a knee-jerk reaction. I can't listen to it.
Who else?
Oh my gosh. Absolutely cannot listen to at the shop. I don't like pretty much any hair metal.
Okay.
So like if I came in and somebody was listening to like Guns N' Roses, you can listen to 2 songs, but then we're done after that. Like you listen to your 2 songs. Who do I fucking hate that everybody is like, oh, we don't play that. Actually, it's funny. I love oh my God. Of course I just said that. And my brain's gone. Fucking the song Bela Lugosi's Dead. Bauhaus. Anyway, Bauhaus. You would think Amber's gonna love Bauhaus. Look at this fucking stack of music right here. Yeah, okay. But I swear to God, the first note hits in that song, I'm like, skip it. It's so.
Spotify will. You can talk to Spotify.
No, I'm talking to the whoever's working the desk. Like, skip this fucking song.
Siri.
But like, yeah. So Desiree, my last apprentice or whatever, she's like, skip this song. Amber hates it. I'm like, God damn it.
So AC/DC.
Yeah, pretty much anything hair metal. I'm trying to
metal.
think of something that somebody. I don't like jazz.
Okay.
I hate jazz.
Okay.
It's like doing math for me because I'm trying to like. When is the next time they're going to hit that section? The pattern, or whatever. So I'm like, in this kind of music, you're like, oh, okay, and here's the chorus, and here's this next thing, and it's a nice, neat little package. And jazz is like, fuck you, we're playing 3 songs. And it just makes my brain go, are we in algebra right now? I like this. This guy's playing 4/4, and this guy's not. I don't know what's happening right now. It just makes my brain crazy because I'm trying to listen to it.
Have you seen any old Saturday Night Live footage, like Chevy Chase era?
I've seen some, but
He's like a debate or something like that, and he's playing. I think he's playing Gerald Ford as the president, and they're like. They start and they're like, with the budget and da-da-da-da-da-da, and like one bead of sweat becomes like he's just, and they're finally like, so, and he goes, I was told there would be no math.
that's me for sure. I'm fucking terrible at it. God, I'm so bad. So like no jazz. So one of my coworkers came in and he's like a new guy. He's so fucking sweet and he loves this band called Mars Volta.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll listen to At the Drive-In a little bit, which is the band before I think. And then Mars Volta comes on and I'm like, 3 songs. It's gotta go. It's gotta go. I can't do it anymore. But it's very much like I hate what I hate and I love what I love, but I'm open to listening to new stuff. But it better not be jazz and it better not be, what's that fucking Wasp or anything like that. I don't want to listen to anything like that. But yeah, I'll come in and they'll be listening to Teddy will be listening to like some cute jazz, like French jazz, and I'm like, shut it off. I'm gonna be in a bad mood immediately.
What about there's I don't want to say it's one, but let's just to keep it simple. Let's say there was one pocket of the whole jazz fingerprint
That I would listen to.
that was really kind of constructed on grooves, and it's real heavy on like the keys and organ.
Like who?
Well, Big John Patton is the record that comes to mind. It's got Grant Green on the guitar, and it's just fucking groovy. Like it's not because jazz is like, okay, this is this piece of machinery. It does this thing, and it needs all three of us to do our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna do this thing. We're also gonna have turns venturing out, and then we'll return back and do the thing. And now
Yeah.
it's your turn. A lot of jazz is that.
So I used to go. I used to go to Harling's upstairs, and they had jazz
Front staircase or back?
front.
Okay.
I mean, the back staircase, if you weren't drunk, you could make it up. But I think it was boarded off for years. You could go out on the back deck, but you couldn't go down the stairs anymore. I don't
Interesting.
remember. But they were wild.
I mean, it never felt like it
No.
wasn't falling off the building.
Never. Front stairs, but those were still dangerous.
Yeah.
Like this.
Every time I'm like, who carries the gear for shows?
No fucking idea.
kegs?
They must like haul it up.
Yeah, like-
I don't know. But I think Saturday nights they would have like just jam and people could come in and there was
Okay.
a woman, I feel like her name was like Ivory or something like that. Fucking gorgeous.
Okay.
But she would sing a lot of the time and I knew a kid that would play drums and I was like, this is kind of fun. I could see how this could be kind of fun. I'm also drinking and having fun with my friends, so it's a little bit different. But like I like my husband considers like Chet Baker jazz, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll listen to a little bit of that.
Okay.
But like once we start, like I don't, you know what I don't need in my life? A saxophone solo. I don't need a jazz flute. It's not a thing. I don't need
Gotcha.
it. My life is not lacking without those things.
So, Disco 4 Generations by Public Health 2022.
Oh, health. Just health.
What did it?
We're talking about public memory. Now we're on to health.
Yes, I think I
You joined
accidentally
it too.
did.
It's fine.
Sorry, my bad. So this is, I think, 2 releases that they made.
It's 2 releases, but they kind of have the same, like Disco 4, and then they have the skulls on the front.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they almost couldn't cram them all on one album. Took them a while to do the second one.
2022, 24 tracks, 80 plus minutes, 91,000 YouTube subscribers, and nearly 60 million views. Yet the only tidbit I can find about them is that they're from LA. Literally,
Yeah.
I tried a lot of places, and I was like, it's just gonna have to be the way that it is. So what?
There's like a video online where I was a top listener of health on Spotify, and the guy, and I don't remember which one, but he comes on and he's like, hey, he's like he's obviously at like a Comic-Con or something. He's like, thanks for listening to health. Okay, bye. I'm like, oh my God. So they're just like, there is like a video on YouTube of them where it's like, kind of like an interview, kind of talks about them a little bit. I didn't get to watch the whole thing. Ricky watched it without me. He says it's super interesting. It's just 2 nerdy fucking guys. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Whatever. I found health through a band called Youth Code that I found through Ministry.
Oh wow.
So Ministry, the first time Youth Code toured, Ministry saw them play or got a sample or something and was like, you're going to come tour with us. And it's one guy that used to be in hardcore bands and then a chick. So that's called Youth Code. And then Youth Code is very, like, I couldn't even tell it was a female singer because he puts so many layers and like pedals and effects on the voice that you can't really tell. So again, it's very political, post-hardcore, but it's very just like a synthesizer and a singer. Like it's very whatever. Anyway, much more aggressive, a lot more screaming. But they did a song with Health, or Health covered a song of theirs or something like that. And I was like, ooh, who is this Health band? No, I've seen their name pop up a couple times. So, Disco 4, that was later, but one of their earlier records, I was like, found them through Youth Code, and I was like, "Oh shit, these guys are good." I don't know if I like the high vocals, but then it grew on me. And then these two records in particular are mashups of them doing songs with other bands. So some of them are like them kind of remixing them, and some of them are actual collaborations. I think Cyberpunk is just a song of theirs. It's excellent. It's very bright. It opens up. It's a very like fun, jingly fucking song or whatever, but it's still very much like when it says disco, I think it's literally like dance music. It's just to go dance to.
That's fair. It is nothing like disco, though.
No, not at all.
I was like,
not at all. You're like, I like disco.
I got Casey and the Sunshine Band. I was like,
I
fuck.
don't know. So, this is also something. If you were listening on a laptop or something, just in passing, I'm going to get these tracks out of the way. So I said that I listen to them. Listening here is going to be totally different than if you are like I have a sub in my car. Um, Colors, and I think maybe Hate You have an entire layer of the song that is so low on the subwoofer that you cannot hear it unless you have a subwoofer. You cannot hear it on headphones. You cannot hear it through.
I definitely didn't get that.
So, Colors starts out, it's so low that it shakes everything in my car. And that's like not even turned up. So, like, this is intended to be listened to with a subwoofer. They don't tell you that.
Right.
They're not like, listen to this with a subwoofer. It's fun little thing that you get to find later. So people are like, at the shop, they're like, why do you like this Colors song so much? And I'm like, come here. And I take them out to the car and they're like, oh, this is good. Okay,
Wow.
I get it now. Like it's just like, it's very, I don't know. It's just that it's another part of it. It's almost like if you had headphones on and you're only getting one.
Yeah, fuck
It's
that.
like that sub adds the rest of the song to it. It's like a missing piece.
It's like we want the smallest portion of the smallest sample size of folks to hear what we've made. And it's true.
You're not wrong. It is weird to me that they would do that. Nothing's accidental when you're recording, right? Very little new music, modern music is done with accidental stuff like that. You're not going to be able to hear this on a Sonos system in a tattoo shop. They don't think about that stuff. No, they did.
Is
they
that
thought
what
about it.
You have a Sonos?
We have a Sonos at the shop, and we have two speakers, but I think we could add another pair of them. But
where are they? How are they mounted?
One's kind of up. I would say maybe at the level or maybe a little higher than your camera there.
Okay.
Facing one side. So we're a big rectangle. And then the other one is back towards me facing that direction. So they're kind of opposites, crisscrossy. But I like being able to like turn mine down or turn theirs up, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of acts as like an invisible screen from the front of the shop so they can't exactly hear what you're talking about in the back.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Yeah. So I've thought about adding a subwoofer, which they sell, but it's just like, we're working,
Are you a fan of the Sonos?
I didn't used to be. I've gotten used to it now.
Why did you not?
It used to be very finicky. It would shut off all the time.
No
you
shit.
had to have two apps to run it.
Oh.
Like you couldn't run Spotify to it without having the app on. It would queue up songs in Sonos that weren't queued in Spotify, so we'd have to fucking cycle the whole thing off. But it's gotten better over the years.
Interesting.
But I don't like that you can't just put as many speakers as you want with it. Like it's a limited system. I can't put like 8 speakers. We don't want 8 speakers.
My neighbors have a bunch.
So you can have like 4 of the small ones, 2 subwoofers, 1 of the lamps, whatever.
Okay.
But when they first came out, like I think ours are from IKEA. I say first came out. When I got them from IKEA, they were like, you can have 2 speakers and a subwoofer. And that's it. And I was like, why can't you daisy chain them? Like, why can you not do that? And they were like, man, you just can't. I didn't like, you can't, they have to be on Wi-Fi. You can't Bluetooth. Like, you have to be on Wi-Fi. They share a Wi-Fi network.
Yeah.
You can't like.
So I don't pay for Spotify,
Okay.
so I'm limited to shuffle. Right. There is a playlist on Spotify that is, for a long time, it was all I listened to because it's upwards of 11,000 albums and 600 hours, and they're adding to it constantly.
Okay. So it's like a playlist somebody's putting stuff into.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's full albums. And I just it would just play 24/7, 365. And I think maybe once or twice I made it all the way through. And a couple times, if Wi-Fi went down or something, I'd
Yeah.
have to get in there. But it started pausing. And this is probably going back. I've been aware of the Wrapped year-end thing for 4 or 5 years now. I don't know how long they've been doing it. But when that would come out, it would be like, "What? You fucking astronaut? You're in like 1% of the 1%." I'm like, "Well, I mean, I'm cheating. It's playing while I sleep.
Yeah.
When I'm not home, the fucking dogs can, and it started pausing, and then you'd have to go over there, and then you had like a limited number of pauses, and then you'd have to get out of it. I'm running it through Sonos. You'd have to
Yeah.
get out of it and do something else with Sonos, and then you could come back to it, but it would start. It would Band of Horses.
Yeah.
You know this band? I should know the name of the song. It started that song every single
That
time.
would be the one that it started with.
Yeah, and then it would run through, and I was like, and it was just, and every single ad break
Yeah.
was a Spotify, like, fucking pay for premium, I'm like, is somebody like behind this trying to make it difficult so that I give up
Maybe.
and pay, or is it maybe it was a Sonos, maybe it was a user. Anyway,
I don't know. It was really finicky at first.
I do love the shit out of the quality of the speaker, though.
Yeah, they're a good speaker.
I can crank it, and all the fucking wine glasses and shit in the
Yeah.
house are rattling. And
They'll get loud for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. So Disco 4 with a red cover is mostly like, yes, there's some collabs, but there's some OGs on here. Disco 4 with the black cover has a lot more of the aggressive stuff in it. So Dead Flowers, the first track on it is what's her name? Poppy. She's kind of a more famous kind of whatever. She's kind of a metal chick, but whatever. Anyway, I was like, oh, this sucks. It grew on me. Isn't Everyone? Track 2 is with Trent Reznor. So I was like, oh, okay. I guess maybe I'll give this a shot. AD 1000 is a heavier song that has that like hidden subwoofer in it too. But The Joy of Sect is with a band called Street Sects. And I've tried to listen to their stuff and I don't get it at all.
Interesting.
How in the fuck did they collab with them? Did they cover the song? I tried to look for it. I don't know. I can't. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. There's another one with like a band called Soccer Mommy. That's like kind of a big band right now too. That somebody was like, oh my God, I love Soccer Mommy. I was like, I've never heard of it except for on this. But it's like, I don't know if they're like friends with them or if people are like, hey, will you do a collab with us? Like, we're homies. Will you do this? I have no idea where they come up with it. But there's another, they just have a lot of records that are just good, groovy, mindless.
They have a lot of records. This is 19 of 24.
They
that
have
I
a
could
lot.
see.
There are some singles and stuff like that, but like just records, there's full length records. There has to be 10 for sure.
Okay.
The early ones are wildly different than what they've turned into now. They've definitely embraced more of like they use more like high-pitched kind of jingly happy stuff. It's not happy, but that's what it sounds like. It's
Interesting.
brighter and more fun than the like really deep electronic industrial stuff. But it's just another one of those bands. I was like, hey, I love this, we're gonna implement it, and people always ask about it.
Nice. Well, both lists were fantastic. Thanks for sharing them with me. I usually close with a series of goofy questions, and then we'll get you out of here.
Let's do it.
So the first is lunch with anyone, dead or alive. Who are you choosing and why?
Lunch with anyone,
Mm-hmm.
dead or alive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably Trent
Trent
Reznor.
Reznor. I
Yeah.
love it. Why not needed? I already know the
Yeah,
why.
I don't even know what I would ask him. I just want to sit in his presence, I guess.
Yeah,
I've been obsessed with him since I was like 12 or 11. Like, why wouldn't I?
I love it.
Yeah, I hear he's really short.
It really?
Yeah, I heard he's like 5'7" or something like that. Like, he's fucking jacked now.
Is he?
Yes, he
Huh.
got like really fit.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, I had like wall posters of him when I was a kid and stuff.
Of
I just
course.
think he's an interesting guy.
For sure. I don't think that there's anybody that doesn't think that. And the definition of interesting in that particular, it varies. Like,
Yeah, like he's a weirdo, or I just think he's very talented.
sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like seeing some of his live shows, I've seen them many times, but seeing some of the live shows like 10 years ago versus I saw him in 2000 on my birthday.
Wow.
At Kemper Arena, and it was fantastic.
That had to be
I think it was on my birthday, May
near the
28th,
tail end
2000.
of shows at that venue.
Yeah, probably. It was
mean-
big. I think there was a Family Values there that same year in the fall, but yeah, probably. Yeah, I think it was May 28th, 2000 they played. I'm pretty sure. And they needed two drummers to play Head Like a Hole.
Huh.
It was kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Television show Fear Factor. You remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And you remember roughly what was going on it?
Yeah, they make you stick your hand in a vat full of cockroaches and stuff like
Or
that.
lay in a coffin with spiders poured all over you, or whatever the case. Absolute worst case scenario Fear Factor challenge for Amber Lee would be.
The shit that I have nightmares about is not even scary stuff. Fear Factor challenge. Go to work. Everybody needs me to help them with something, and I'm in the middle of trying to stencil a band around a leg, and I just cannot get started on it. I'm looking at the clock, and now it's 4, and now it's 5, and now it's 6, and they're going home. I never
You have
did a tattoo.
no fear of heights or claustrophobia or slimy or smelly or none of that. It's
No.
okay.
Not really.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to think of like something that I'm genuine. So I keep spiders
Interesting.
like as pets.
Uh-huh.
Jumpers, they're cute,
Yeah.
but I have some tarantulas and stuff. I had reptiles growing up.
Yeah.
They don't weird me out at all.
I mean,
I didn't like. I can say the word now because I have to feed them to my spiders, but made my mouth goo up. I don't like maggots.
I knew you were going to say that.
I hate them. I hate the word. But since I've had the jumping spiders, I've had to get over the phobia because a large portion of what they eat is them.
I'll try to be as brief as possible for this.
Okay.
I lived by myself once, and I living with my buddy, and I moved into a vertically split duplex. So if you go up on the front porch, there's 2 front doors.
Yeah.
And they have the bottom, and I have the top. And there was a gal and her son living in the bottom. She's an over-the-road truck driver. Gone 3 weeks out of the month. He is like home alone, doesn't work, allergic, so he says, to marijuana,
Okay.
but smokes it nonstop. So he's constantly taking this cocktail of things to counter the symptom. It just,
Okay.
and then like it was super fucked up because they announced they were gonna move, and this family from fucking North Dakota arrives with children and pets in tow, and they are just still
There.
they haven't, so they had to like scramble pack.
Oh God.
And so it's this gal and her 2 kids and this boyfriend who immediately I'm like, this is, you look like bad news, sir. And she looks like she's just had a rough go with it, and she's just clinging to whatever and the oldest boy is, or the only boy, he's like stocky and I don't think ever had a haircut and just autistic. The fat car door opened and I was like, oh God, and he would run, and it's all hardwood floors, and I'm up, I can hear everything. He would run and launch himself into the wall, and then just all day, and say things like, "I eat Popeye's biscuits, yes."
Oh my God, I love it.
Just and I moved into this place so I can go to grad school and study.
And you're not studying shit.
So, and they make beef for dinner every night. It's just
Because that's all elite.
It's I don't have any idea.
Yeah.
So we share the basement, and that's where washer and dryers. Where we share the yards, so we're responsible for mowing. And so I'm whatever. I'm always doing that. And one night it's like dusk, and I go around. And there's just two big fucking trash bags just full, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing those there the last time I was back here. And I think they like went out on, it was trash day that day, and they went out that night. And so we've circled
There for a week.
Circled the whole week, and it's the summer. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I go, and I just reaching. I don't even jostle.
Ugh.
And I reach, and I'm like, oh God, there's fucking rotten beef shit. Like, I know what that means. And I can't. And I can also tell that if I just do, everything's gonna burst. So I was like, I can't have this be outside my home, but I also don't want them to think I'm fucking around with their trash.
Yeah.
So I've got to like get it into
a new bag
and get it somewhere. And I like in the dark.
Oh no.
Get it open, and I could, there's just,
you can hear them.
I could just see movement.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And I got a full, I mean,
full of it.
Thousands.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. They're disgusting.
And so
that would be it. That would be it.
I got it out of there. I got both of them out of there. And then like 2 weeks later, I was mowing, and I look, and I'm like,
still a pile of them.
No, it's they've done it again.
No.
And I was like, hey, I tried as best I could to like do what I needed to do to make myself comfortable and not, and she's like, I know what he just needs to take him to the job site. I'm like, please don't put that in anybody's car. No. Like not even your worst enemy. Just put shit out on trash night. Like,
yeah. Not the night after.
Yeah. And so she, whatever. I mean, it didn't happen again, but 2 times in the dark, 2 huge bags. And I mean, I will retch at anything. And it's gotten to a point where like, oh, I think I just damaged something permanently right there. Yeah. So I'm out there in the dark, going and trying to mask it twice. I had to do it twice. Oh, fuck,
no, man. Yeah, I was like playing with a neighborhood kid, and we were like hitting each other with sticks or whatever, and I lifted a trash can lid up, and he smacked it, and they just rained everywhere.
You know what I do that I know is probably somewhat related to this now, and have for quite some time. If I open a package of chicken breast, I thoroughly rinse the little pad and the plastic and the styrofoam
before you throw it away.
And then I'll get a clear plastic produce bag to put my chicken breast in. So I rinsed all of those things, and then I'll put them in that bag, tie it up, and put it in the freezer. I don't go through a lot of protein because I have the kids 4 nights a week, and so a thing of chicken breast will last me a week. A thing of ground beef I get through.
Sure.
It's not a bunch, but anything that has the potential to possibly make my kitchen trash smell, or God forbid if it's in my garage trash for an extended period. And then on trash day,
you pull it out.
And
do you remember successfully to do
not
this?
always.
Okay.
Not always.
Okay. I was like, what?
But I'm not taking any chances that something gets rank and rotten and
They're disgusting. So you share the disgust with those critters. I hate them.
Yeah.
I hate them. So they come in they're like in a little container with sawdust, so they're not wet. And that is the trick to me being able to, they used to, if somebody says the word sometimes, it did it when I went to tell you what it is.
I saw it.
My mouth will like,
yep.
like the almost retch.
Have you seen the surströmming? Do you know what this is?
I don't think I want to know.
Okay.
What is
It's
that?
pickled herring.
Oh, I
And,
do know what you're talking about.
and
That's
it's and
disgusting.
it's in a tin can.
Yeah, no.
And I think you have to. I don't know if
It's
it
like a
comes.
fucking delicacy.
It's like from Scandinavia somewhere,
Yes.
but there's a big trend of trying to eat it on TikTok.
Oh, you
You
can't.
open it with a can opener, it fizzes and sprays
No.
like some kind of twisted porn scene. And then nobody can once that can is once the
Yeah.
seal is
They
people
can't even
people
do
are
it.
like ugh,
Oh, yeah.
and then you see people they got it and they'll
Did you watch any Anthony Bourdain or anything?
uh
There's like an episode where he tries to eat that and he can't even do it.
I watched a little bit of No Reservations, and then I watched quite a bit of Parts Unknown, which I thought was one of the best pieces of television
Dude,
ever
when they
made.
go to Thailand is one of the best episodes ever. He's amazing, and honestly, if I was to tell you who my uncle was, my audiophile uncle, he's Anthony Bourdain.
Wow.
I
That's funny.
love that man. He was so fucking awesome. But every time I watch Anthony Bourdain, I'm like, oh, I miss Sam. He's so great.
Right. Right.
But yeah, those things are disgusting. Fear factor. I guess that's my
I
final
gotcha.
answer. Me.
You're given the opportunity to visit your past self at any age of your choosing. What age are you choosing, and what are you saying?
Yeah, this is so open ended. To do anything I want.
You're just you get to go and see, and then maybe say a little something. Maybe you don't.
I would probably go back to when I was like 22 and I moved back from California and tell myself not to be such a piece of shit for so long. Like, let it go. Quit being fucking angry. I wish I could be like more.
Piece of shit is anger adjacent.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, I was just like, I was so mad. I was just a rotten, wasting my life, mean to people. You know,
Okay.
it's just really funny to me who I was in my 20s, and I joke all the time. People are like, "Oh my god, you're so nice." I'm like, "You have no fucking idea what it took to get here." I'm old now. Like, I got it all out.
If we can imagine or pretend that we all have personal and professional bucket lists. Let's say you're given all the necessary resources to hammer out your number one on both. What would they be?
Of personal and
Sometimes they're one and the same for people. Sometimes they're not.
I mean, if I mean, God, I don't know. That's awfully tells you when I just think day to day, huh? I'm already kind of on the journey. So like I would just continue I would continue what I'm doing like health wise just to continue to get there. So there's that.
Okay.
But like I would probably try to seek out artists that I admire that would be willing to like mentor me in ways where I could get better, you know? Like just
You
because
you have there's room.
oh, absolutely.
I mean, I would
Oh God, if you ever think in any job, if you think
don't
that
tell you're not going to sit there and tell me that there aren't people out there that are like
I've made it.
it doesn't
Yeah.
get any better
No,
than this.
absolutely. There
Okay.
are. And if you get to a point where you think
Those folks are still listening to AC/DC every day.
oh my God, they are. They are. Can't stand it. Yeah, if you think that you've made it, you're fucking wrong and you should quit because you're not doing a service to yourself or your clients for that matter.
Cool.
So like anytime I can try to get better or like quit focusing on the needs of like every little thing that needs to be done in the shop and I can focus on like honing a style or like hey my line work's not as good as it was, like if I can get better at that I want to sit down and just practice and get better at that. Obviously I'm not a hack or anything, I'm not chewing people
Right.
up, but like every couple of years you should see an improvement in your work. So,
Nice. I love it.
yeah.
Please complete this for me. The world would immediately become a better place in which to live if only
If only. Oh man. Do you give this to everybody?
I have a list of like a dozen or so.
I should have practiced.
And
Why didn't you warn me about this? I think the world would be a better place if we would stop giving money to the military. But that would be all militaries. Like, we need to protect ourselves, but like, I feel like if I wanted to go less dark than that, what if we said if they stop charging for people to get fucking health care, if we just stopped charging for people to get health educations, for people to get medical doctorates, if they would not have to pay for college,
I mean, those are all fantastic answers.
why wouldn't, like, I tattoo a urologist that told me that he thinks that the entire healthcare fucking bullshit stems with the cost of college, with how much time and money they have to spend in college, that they have to charge this enormous amounts of money
Yeah.
to pay off that debt.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but that's, yeah.
I'm just
I
like,
could
oh my
see it.
God, really? Like, 13 years of college to be a specialist? I'm like, how much does that cost? He's like, a fucking lot.
Yeah. $250,000, $500,000.
He's really cool. He's a cool guy. He's like very into punk and stuff too. But it's just like, there's so many ways that I could answer that question. It's like, could I start with something little? Like,
You at first you snickered.
I'm like, God, I immediately went to like, if they would stop putting gluten in bread.
Oh.
I could fucking eat some bread. But then I was like, maybe it should be something more profound.
Right.
There's so many ways.
Just want a PB&J on Wonder, damn it.
Oh my God. In Europe, they do like a Wonder Bread that has no crust. I was like, I would fucking kill somebody to eat something on that bread right now.
Don't piss me off.
Put me in the Thunderdome. I'm
Right.
ready.
Thank you so much. This has been a blast. DearYouTattoo.com, at DearYouTattoo on Instagram, DearYouTattoo@gmail.com, 4470 Rainbow. Is that
That's
right?
it.
In KCK, 913-831-8833. Any plugs or anything that you had hoped that we would cover that we didn't?
No, I really didn't think we would be digging up my childhood, but here we are.
I mean, I wasn't like, here we go. I mean,
I never knew. I got asked like 13 times today, what are you guys going to talk about? I was like, he didn't give me any preparation at all. I have no idea.
it's so much better that way. When people are like, I watched like 4 episodes, I'm like, fuck, all right. I mean,
I didn't.
good.
I didn't watch any. I did look through your Instagram feed to see what kind of shit people put down. And I was like, I got this.
Because you thought most of what you saw was like nerdy or soft,
No,
or
not at all.
or
No,
you felt like you fit in, or
I just felt like I was like, I'm not gonna list things that other people are listing. Like
that's hugely accurate.
that's kind of what I was like. I was like, let me look at what other people are. I did look to just see if people were like, fuck yeah, I listen to Anal Cunt and Ass Grinder, whatever.
Are those actual band names?
Anal Cunt is. Yes. There's another one called Crotch Duster that is quite funny too.
Wow.
But I was like, how about I don't do that? And how about we do stuff that, like, I feel like any one of these albums, even somebody who isn't into electronic immediately, could find something in this list that they
For
would
sure.
find good.
I mean, it's pretty wild that the biggest common denominator with your list and the rest of the folks that have done this is Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like from a mainstream lens, like Nine Inch Nails is like an outlier of sorts, or at least and when they came on the scene, it was, you didn't see, there wasn't shit like that in the mainstream.
No,
before.
there's still and there are still people that have never heard of Nine Inch Nails. Or maybe they've heard of them and have never listened to them.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, and there's like stuff that came out in 2020 doesn't sound like this.
Right.
This is very like analog.
Yeah.
So.
Well, very cool. I really appreciate it. We've got to get you out of here because bedtime is around the corner for you, my friend.
Oh, damn. Yeah. I gotta go. I'm sleepy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was nice to meet you, and talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.